Divine Comprehension, a dimensional journey begins in Douluo. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176, The Shameful Uzaya Gang, Decisive Action. Now that you have done something wrong and found it irreversible, you told all the clan members this news. Do you want everyone in the sect to take the blame for your good son? But where is your good son? Where is he now? If he still thinks he is a member of the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, he should come back to apologize to Wu Tong instead of just walking away. Now it's good. Not only did we fail to deal with Wu Tong yesterday, but we were also discovered by Douluo. In this case, once Douluo tells Wu Tong the news, the only result that awaits us is the destruction of the family under the joint attack of all forces. What is this? Wasn't this the only treatment that the evil soul master received back then? Yu Luomian was full of anger when he mentioned Uzaya Gang. He always felt disgusted even when he looked at that waste Uzaya Gang. Now seeing Yu Yuan's actions, he poured out all the grievances that he had accumulated in his heart during this period. He really didn't understand why Yu Yuan was thinking about making all the members of the sect pay for the mistakes of his waste son, for a waste who was expelled from the sect. Facing Yu Luomian's accusation, Yu Yuan had nothing to say. After all, he had no way to refute Yu Luomian's words. Yu Yuan did make a move against Wu Tong because of a piece of information from Uzaya Gang. And it was not just once, but several times that he wanted to put Wu Tong to death. Therefore, the Blue Lightning Tyrant clan and Wu Tong had a deep hatred. The hatred between the two can be said to be completely caused by Uzaya Gang alone. Did Yu Yuan know? Of course he knew, but his feelings for his son made him make wrong judgments again and again. So much so that he dragged the family into this wrong struggle. Until now, the hatred between the two has been completely unable to be resolved. Only when one side completely dies can this life and death duel forged by hatred end. But do you want to ask him if he regrets it? Of course he regrets it. For a waste that can disappear when the family needs him. Pulling the entire family, this makes Yu Yuan regret all the time during this period. After all, in his heart, although he loves his son deeply, his love for the sect is even deeper. Yu Luomian looked at Yu Yuan's remorseful expression, but the resentment in his heart did not decrease at all. In his opinion, this was all what Yu Yuan deserved. Regret? What's the use of regret? It's too late. The other old men on the side were also silent as they watched this scene. Yesterday's surprise attack did not succeed, so now all the results are doomed. They have no ability to fight against the Divine Examiner, let alone a Divine Examiner who has the ability to mobilize almost all the forces on the continent. The assassin can miss the attack and escape thousands of miles away. But they can't. As long as they dare to run, they will be greeted by the pervasive pursuit of the entire continent. Since they are going to die anyway, they might as well save some dignity for themselves. Therefore, under the doomed ending, if it weren't for some news about the fire, they didn't even want to come here. Wouldn't it be better to spend more time with their families with this little time? Okay, what are you arguing about? What's the point of saying this now? Can it change the result? An irritable old man interrupted Yu Luomian's complaint. But he didn't even look at Yu Yuan and said to Yu Luomian, "How is it? Did the young guys from the arranged families leave smoothly?" As soon as these words came out, the eyes of several old men on the side also began to stare at Yu Luomian. Hearing the old man's question, Yu Luomian had no intention of paying attention to Yu Yuan anymore. "Well, Uncle A, more than 3,000 young people under the age of 6 have been secretly arranged by me to be sent to various places on the mainland by some confidants. As long as they are not discovered in the future, our Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family will not perish." That's good, it's all because we don't have the ability. We can't give them a safe living environment, and we have to hide from place to place. Alice, I just hope that they can live in peace in the future and preserve the family's bloodline. That's enough. A group of old men finally felt a little comforted when they heard Yu Luomian's words. At the same time, some old men couldn't help but feel sad. You know, when have they, the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus clan, suffered such cowardice, but now they have to do what they regard as shame in normal days in order to continue their bloodline. Yu Yuan sat in the main seat, watching the scene in front of him in silence, and thought of Uzaya Gang who had disappeared since Wu Tong's rise. The regret in his heart was beyond description. Wu Tong looked at the scene below, and there was constant discussion in the live broadcast room. Dragon King spraying water, I finally understood, isn't this just what they deserve? How dare they come to trouble Wu Tong? Don't bully the poor young man, it's not uncommon to have such people in the fantasy world. I can understand it, but Yu Zhigang is a bit disgusting. Puyao Bilian, yes, it's okay to drag your family into the water because of your jealousy, but after dragging them into the water, is it okay to run away directly? Chiyuangxianren, sure enough, he is a despicable and shameless person. Chen Shi Zianao, Alice, human nature. Wu Tong glanced at the movement in the live broadcast room and ignored it. He should finish his business first. Listening to the discussion below, Wu Tong spoke up. Oh? There are still some who escaped. If they hadn't eavesdropped, they might have gotten away with it. When the people who were discussing heard this voice, they looked up and saw Wu Tong sitting on a raised platform in the hall, looking down at them. But it doesn't matter. I will let them leave with you. You just go down and wait. Wu Tong ignored the angry expressions of the people from the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect below and said calmly. Wu Tong, if you want revenge, come after me. What's the point of making things difficult for some children? Yu Yuansun stood up and glared at Wu Tong. How, idiot, Wu Tong didn't even say a word. What's the point of talking nonsense with this group of enemies? Do you have a lot of time? After that, Wu Tong directly sacrificed the 10,000 souls banner. As millions of resentful souls poured out, the entire hall of the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect was instantly covered by a black mist. Countless miserable and sad wails, mixed with endless negative emotions, rushed towards Yu Yuansun and his group one after another, in the live broadcast room. Passerby, Liu, it's really worthy of being Wu Tong, still as neat as ever, without any hesitation, Puyao Bilian. This behavior suddenly reminded me of General Duanmu, Dragon King spraying water, Duanmu Yan? Indeed, they are all equally clean and neat, and they don't talk too much when they can take action. Don't bully the poor young, this behavior is really cool. When I read novels before, I had to talk about a fight in them for several chapters. But in novels, I think it's quite normal, but if it's real, it's better to take action directly. After a long time, it's inevitable that there will be complications. Puyao Bilian, speaking of experience, Zhao Yan, isn't this you? Don't bully the poor young. Chapter 177, The Intersection of Ideas, Eliminating Hidden Dangers Within the Group. The group of people below were stimulated by Wu Tong's words and instantly gave up the idea of surrendering. They thought that since they would all die in the end, they would still want to bite off a piece of meat from Wu Tong. With this idea, everyone used all their strength. In an instant, the whole hall was ravaged by thunder. Several thunder dragons suddenly appeared and rushed towards Wu Tong. 7th soul skill, martial soul true body, 8th soul skill, thunder and fire, 9th soul skill, wrath of thunder, 8th soul skill, thunder punishment. In an instant, they actually cleared the surrounding mist of resentful souls and created a blank space. However, these attacks only looked powerful. Not to mention rushing to Wu Tong, they didn't even rush to the 3 meters in front of them. They were intercepted by countless resentful souls and dispersed the attacks. The final result was just a 3-meter blank area in the black fog area. Moreover, the next second after this 3-meter blank area appeared, it was covered again by the mist of resentful souls released by the ghost soul, in the live broadcast room. Dragon King spraying water, poof, this is quite funny, the special effects and combat effectiveness are not proportional at all, ha ha ha, lazy angel, indeed. Special effects worth hundreds of millions, coupled with the lethality of idiots. Which idiot wrote the script? Don't bully the poor young man, you can't say that, at least it still caused some damage, right? Ha ha ha, Puyao Bilian, come on, try harder, you will find that hard work is useless. Lazy angel, is nonsense literature back in the arena. The attacks of himself and others did not work at all. Seeing this scene, Yu Yuansun and his group immediately realized the gap between them and Wu Tong. Looking at Wu Tong's calm eyes, as if looking at a clown, everyone was desperate. Crack, as countless resentful souls rushed forward one after another, Yu Yuansun and others' resistance became weaker and weaker. Finally, with countless chewing sounds that made people's scalps numb and their hearts soared with chills, it sounded. As the heart-wrenching cries of Yu Yuansun and others gradually weakened and dissipated, all the resistance in the hall finally came to an end, in the live broadcast room. Red Kite Immortal. To be honest, isn't this a bit cruel? Passerby, Immortal, this is wrong. Power is good when used properly, just like the enemy and me of our Kamen Rider, isn't it the same, Buyao Bilion? Moreover, if they don't go to Brother Tong for trouble, then there won't be these things. One cause leads to one result. Red Kite Immortal, that's right, what you said makes some sense. Next, it's the entire Blue Lightning Tyrant clan. After saying that, Wu Tong transformed the human emperor banner that absorbed the souls of Yu Yuanzhen and others into a soul ring and took it into his body. He stepped across the summoned portal and walked out. When he appeared again, he was already on a small hill not far from the Blue Lightning Tyrant clan. Looking at the Blue Lightning Tyrant clan not far away, and the Dragon City controlled by the Blue Lightning family not far from the Blue Lightning Tyrant clan, Wu Tong smiled lightly. Then, with a thought, the forbidden barrier rose instantly. A pale white, square rectangle completely covered the entire Blue Lightning Tyrant sect and Dragon City. Suddenly, when the people inside saw this scene, they panicked and wanted to run out frantically. But when they reached the barrier, they found that no one could walk out of this thin light curtain. They were completely trapped in the live broadcast room. Photographer, so many people inside want to. Dragon King spraying water, little Sanayu, if you are not used to it, just withdraw, but I can only say that this is necessary. If you don't remove the roots, there will definitely be big troubles. Photographer, no, I want to try to get used to it. After all, I will always have to face it in the future. Lazy Angel, Cute King. Wu Tong looked at the conversation between the two and couldn't help but nodded secretly. The purpose of this live broadcast was achieved. Now the people in the group, strictly speaking, are actually divided into two camps of order, good and chaos, neutral, although the two can chat with each other. But the conflict of ideas is always a problem. Wu Tong intends to use this live broadcast to send a signal to others. Let the ideas intersect so that both sides can understand each other's ideas to avoid disasters in the future. After all, the consequences of the dispute over ideas can be said to be very serious, and there is even the possibility of a life and death struggle. The most typical example is the dispute between good and evil. However, the situation in the chat group is not so extreme. However, it is a good opportunity to adjust it. It is better to be prepared. In this way, I believe that if there is a situation that requires a large-scale killing in the future, the other people in the order and good camp in the group will not stop me and others even if they can't stand it. Don't ask them for help, just don't make trouble. Just when everyone in the barrier began to panic, feel uneasy, and vent wildly, Wu Tong just watched everything that happened inside with a cold eye and ignored these people. Before he entered the chat group, all the innocent people had been transferred out. Now the only people left in the barrier, except for the people of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family, are some scum. Wu Tong has no intention of holding back on these people. So, with the idea of educating the group members, Wu Tong began to take action. Takesu Sword Key, Shenian, Takesu Sword God, modified. God is the extreme of change. There is a sword without a sword. With the help of God, the sword is self-contained, which is the essence of God. God is the extreme of change. It is the wonderful words of all things and cannot be questioned by form. This sword has no form and does not need a form. This sword fills the space and is the space. Therefore, it is everywhere and has no disadvantages. This sword is irresistible. With Fuhu's unique skills, the charm of Takesu Sword Key was used by Wu Tong. Above the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, a huge vortex suddenly appeared. The vortex gathered thousands of miles of wind and clouds, so that the entire sky was covered with black clouds. The gathered clouds and mist gathered all the water vapor within a radius of thousands of miles. It rained heavily in the sky, and with it, there were countless thunders that gathered and completely turned into liquid. However, due to the vortex, the liquid lightning could not fall directly below, and could only wreak havoc around the Blue Lightning Tyrant clan's territory. And this magnificent scene was just the appetizer of this attack. Boom, it was like the wrath of a god. A loud noise sounded instantly. Chapter 178 Takesu Sword God, Nuclear Sword Immortal. Regardless of the threat of rain and thunder, everyone looked up. They saw that the real judgment had already arrived. A golden red sword tip slowly poked out from the center of the vortex, in the live broadcast room. Dragon King spraying water, damn, Takesu Sword God? So cool, why don't I have such a cool skill? I want it too. Cute King, so cool, it feels like the sort of judgment of Archangel Michael in the myth, Red Kite Immortal. Yes, It is indeed takes a sword god, but it seems to be more powerful than my takes a sword god, seeker, because this is the takes a sword key that I modified. Not only can men practice it, but it also incorporates my unique pure yang true key, so it is stronger than your takes a sword god. Don't believe the poor young man. 666, you are indeed worthy of being my big brother. You are awesome. Photographer G, I want to learn it too. It is exactly the same as the star-slashing and universe-breaking large glazed sword in my mind. Everyone. Boom boom boom, the momentum was so huge, surrounded by bursts of roars, and came with the power of thunder and rain. In an instant, everyone felt that the whole world was shaking and began to shake. The people below had no idea how huge the sword was, because just the tip of the sword has occupied all the perspectives. Faced with this doomsday-like attack, everyone was desperate. They could only helplessly watch the giant sword in the sky slowly fall. Soon, the entire giant sword completely broke free from the vortex in the sky. The patterns on the sword body contained the characteristics of the ancient East, gorgeous but not extravagant, ancient and distant. However, apart from Wu Tong and the group friends in the live broadcast room, there were not many people who could appreciate this beauty. Swish, after breaking free from the vortex, the giant sword seemed to have completely gotten rid of its constraints and fell straight down. Its speed was as fast as lightning, and in the blink of an eye, it successfully contacted the ground. Bang! The takes-a sword god triggered by the pure yang true energy was even more powerful, and the energy was even more explosive. As the sound of the explosion came, the violent energy instantly turned into a horn of destruction, destroying everything on the earth. But the energy that was originally spreading to the surroundings hit a wall at the barrier. Their violent power simply could not break through the barrier that was like a copper wall and an iron wall. Therefore, this energy impact could only be vented towards the sky and the earth helplessly. Suddenly, a man-made pillar of fire was formed. It was like a pillar of fire that stood on the land, in the live broadcast room. Dragon King spraying water, damn, what kind of barrier is so strong? Seeker, it's the Emperor brand, and it has added the special control of the Herrscher of the Void, the gravity shield of the Herrscher of the Rock, and the ideal fluid of the Herrscher of the Wind. Dragon King spraying water, damn, I always feel that you are getting more and more abnormal. Buyao Bilion, it feels like this attack is stronger than a nuclear bomb. King of the Sky, it's not like, it's true, this attack is already comparable to the little boy in Japan in your world, and it seems that Wu Tong has not used all his strength. Don't despise the poor young man, it's really a nuclear bomb? Isn't this the so-called nuclear bomb sword immortal? After a while, the sky-high pillar of fire gradually dissipated, and only a bottomless pit was left at the original address of the Blue Lightning Tyrant clan. The boiling magma slowly flowed at the bottom, showing that the devastating attack just now was not an illusion. Much more comfortable, watching his enemy being crushed to ashes, Wu Tong sighed with satisfaction. Then, the Emperor's banner was raised to collect all the souls. They can't be wasted. After making it impossible for the enemy to even revive, Wu Tong removed the barrier and turned to leave the place, 300 miles east of Xiandao City. Surrounded by mountains, it is easy to defend but difficult to attack. The address of the Haoshan sect after its retirement is located here. At this moment, in the meeting hall of the Haoshan sect, the great elder of the Haoshan sect is now directing the disciples of the Haoshan sect to set up a defense line. Trying to use this easy to defend but difficult to attack terrain, coupled with a familiarity with the terrain, to resist the invasion of other forces. Fourth brother, you and sixth brother are responsible for the defense in the rear, be careful not to let them rush up. Third brother, you and five brother are responsible for the right side. Seventh brother, you and a group of disciples block the left side. There are cliffs all over there. Even if they can come up, not many people can come up. I'll leave it to you. As for second brother, sect master, come with me to face the enemy head-on. I believe that with the treasures brought by Yuhua, we can definitely survive this crisis. Don't worry, boss. With the things brought by Yuhua, plus the secret methods of our sect, each of us can now exert a combat power of level 99. The third elder stroked the hammer in his hand, his tone full of confidence. No matter how many other forces there are, they can't do anything to us. Yes, our Haoshan sect is now the strongest sect, but it's a pity that we didn't get rid of Wu Tong yesterday. If we got rid of him, our Haoshan sect would no longer be a threat in Douluo Continent. The sixth elder also agreed with the third elder's words. The fourth elder on the side was a little hesitant, but if we don't tell Yuhu girl, isn't it not good? What can you tell her? She is just a woman. If it weren't for her martial spirit becoming stronger, she wouldn't be able to enter the decision-making level, the fifth elder replied indifferently. Okay, as long as we resist the attacks of other forces this time, our Haoshin sect can regain its reputation and become the world's #1 sect in the eyes of the world again. When the elder said this, everyone's eyes were full of fire and excited. It seems that they can't wait to make a name for themselves. What's going on? Use my things to hit me? Are you serious? Wu Tong, who just came over, listened to the conversation of the people present. He showed a speechless look on his face. I thought there would be at least some smart people in Haoshin sect, but now it seems that they are really worthy of playing with hammers. Their brains are all muscles. This is purely a reckless man. In fact, not only Wu Tong was confused, but also the people in the group were confused, in the live broadcast room. Don't despise the poor young, Abu Yao Bilian, no, who gave them the courage, King Bian Ji, this is indeed a bit strangely stupid, Photographer Ji. I always feel that they are similar to the Grand Duke of Hellfire, Dragon King Spraying Water, no, I remember that in the original book, Tang Xiao still had some brains, passerby, his eyes seemed to be a little wrong, as soon as Men Shishi reminded them, everyone hurriedly looked at Tang Xiao's eyes. But they saw that Tang Xiao's eyes were scattered, his eyes were lifeless, and he looked like a puppet being controlled. Seeker, well, it seems that he was fed the God Control pill by someone, and now he is just a puppet. This can also explain why the Great Elder is in power. Seeker, no wonder, I said that Tang Yuho has been here all the time. Why did she buy so many God Control pills? It turned out that she was here to control her own people. Seeker, I am afraid that now all the people who oppose in Haoshin sect have been fed the God Control pill and become a puppet. Chapter 179, Murder, Arson, Corpse Burning, Soul Arrest One-Stop Service. Dragon King Spraying Water, awesome, dig in your own grave, I admire the Haoshin sect, no shake billion. 6. It's really hard to let a group of people with muscles in their brains think, no wonder they have such an incredibly stupid performance, controlling God pill, no wonder. Looking at their confident look, and then looking at the news on March 7th, Wu Tong subconsciously overlapped the faces of the people below with the confident face of Lao Gong, the Grand Duke of Hellfire in the Star Iron world. If you don't understand, I recommend you to learn about it. He is really confident. This is exactly the same. Sure enough, clowns are everywhere. Wu Tong shook his head, but he didn't even think about communicating with them. The frogs who stick to the rules and are self-contained are just sitting in the well and watching the sky. They can't even figure out the difference in strength between the two sides. It's a miracle that this force can survive until now. Even the people of the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect knew that they were about to face a disaster and began to prepare for the aftermath, but the group of guys in the Haoshin sect were still dreaming of being the #1 sect in the world. Thinking of this, Wu Tong couldn't help laughing. There are many stupid people, but Wu Tong has never seen such an amazing stupidity. Shaking his head and sighing, Wu Tong turned and left the hall. But no one in the hall noticed that Wu Tong had been there before. From here, it is enough to see the gap between the two sides. Wu Tong's figure came to the outside of Haoshin sect on a small hill. Looking at the Haoshin sect disciples who were setting up defenses, Wu Tong was speechless. Alice, it's true. At this moment, Wu Tong didn't even know what to say. But this time there is no need to transfer personnel. Within a radius of 100 miles, only the disciples of Haoshin sect have settled here, which means that all the people here are Wu Tong's targets. Thinking of this, Wu Tong gently raised his hand and waved it, and the same barrier as the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect was instantly unfolded, instantly covering the entire area around the Haoshin sect. Then, without the slightest hesitation, another Taksai sword god fell directly. Thus, with the formation of another sky-high flame column, a new abyss pit was formed on the surface of Douluo Continent. Looking from above, it just happened to be two centrally symmetrical deep pits with a giant pit of the Blue Lightning Tyrant clan, with Xiandao City as the center. Even if a senior obsessive-compulsive disorder came, he would not find any faults. In the live broadcast room, Buyao Bilian, congratulations, the successor of General Duanmu's will was born. He is passerby. Hey, people are still here. Pay the copyright fee. Thank you, Dragon King Spraying Water. Although it is a bit similar, isn't it the infringement of Takawasago's rights? What does it have to do with you, passerby? All Kamen riders in the world are one family. Is there a problem, Mo King? No problem, but I always feel that you have grown crooked. Is it my illusion? Photographer G, I have this feeling too, but it shouldn't be an illusion, right? Ignoring the group members who went off track while chatting. Wu Tong looked at the doomsday scene in front of him, and his heart was calm. With a thought, the ghost soul, the spirit of the 10,000 souls banner, appeared again. As soon as the ghost soul came out and looked at the scene in front of him, he understood what he needed to do, and shook the small 10,000 souls banner in his hand easily. Then came countless black mists and countless resentful souls, rushing towards the barrier. After the black mist and the resentful souls entered the barrier, everyone saw that tens of thousands of illusory souls appeared in the barrier, rushing towards the surrounding barriers, trying to cross the barrier and escape. However, Wu Tong never thought of giving them a chance to retaliate against him in the future. Among the barriers he arranged, there was a barrier that was specifically used to imprison souls. In short, Wu Tong's barrier was always allowed to enter but not to leave. Therefore, the souls of the people of the Haoshan sect rushed to the barrier and found that they could not rush out at all. The panic of being unable to escape, coupled with the countless resentful souls pouring in from outside, made all the people of the Haoshan sect fall into inevitable despair. In the live broadcast room, Buyao Bilian, steady, this is too steady. After providing one-stop services such as killing people, setting fires, and crushing bones to ashes, they even didn't let go of the soul. Buyao Bilian, if the last step was not salvation, but soul refining, I would have thought that Brother Tong was the reincarnation of Li Changshao. Buyao Bilian, I feel that Brother Tong, you can try the profession of magic cultivation with this set of procedures, and you will definitely have a bright future. Dragon King spraying water, I have to say that the functionality of this barrier is something I have never thought of. It is really thorough. Dragon King spraying water, I am sure that even without a plugin, Wu Tong will definitely become a steady protagonist. The destruction ceremony of the Haoshan sect below was still going on. But at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. Haoshan sect's men, even if we die, we must die meaningfully. We must not sit and wait for death. Even if we die, we must bite off a piece of meat for that guy. Wu Tong turned his head and found that it was Tang Xiao who had woken up after losing his body. The master is right. Fight them. Even if I die, I will bite off a piece of flesh from them. Go ahead, brothers, charge. As Tang Xiao spoke, the souls of the Haoshan sect, which had been in despair, seemed to be re-inspired and awakened the pride of being the Haoshan sect. They all roared and rushed towards the endless resentful souls. But it was useless. It was all useless. The 10,000 souls banner refined by Wu Tong was not the 10,000 souls banner in the novel, but the 10,000 souls banner that was strengthened and modified according to his own understanding. According to Wu Tong, it was called the 10,000 souls banner if it had no ability to deal with souls. Therefore, Wu Tong made a crazy enhancement to the soul binding ability of the 10,000 souls banner. Even an ordinary resentful soul has enough power to restrain a soul that is 2 levels stronger than itself. In this way, no matter how much the souls of the Haoshan sect members rushed up, they would eventually become the playthings of the resentful souls of the 10,000 souls banner. They were arrested one by one, collected, and prepared to wait for the barrier to disappear, and then brought back to the 10,000 souls banner to be transformed and turned into their own people. Soon, except for the elders and the leader of the Haoshan sect, all the souls were restrained. In the live broadcast room, Red Kite Immortal, this scene of hard work and desperate struggle, but to no avail, evoked bad memories for Fu Hua. It reminded her of the scene when the previous civilization faced the end. King Xianji, soul arrest, soul imprisonment, soul lock, soul barrier. Chapter 180, really eradicate the roots and make people sober. King Xianji, it's simply insane, but I like it. King Xianji, I suddenly feel that if I have this set of equipment, I should be able to beat up that old bastard Carl right now. King Xianji, hiss, it's a bit tempting. I've decided. After the live broadcast is over, I will go find materials to refine the 10,000 souls banner. King Xianji, if I can't deal with that guy Carl this time, I will take his last name, Dragon King spraying water. Come on, Sister Hexy, I support you in killing Carl. Hungry Dragon roaring, come on. Looking at the front, only the 8 old guys of Haoshan sect are still resisting. Seeing this scene, Wu Tong didn't have any opinions, but the ghost soul on the side was a little unhappy. It's really useless to not take down these old guys for such a long time. It's a waste of the master's time. Can you afford it? It seems that it's time to let the souls in the 10,000 Souls banner fight, and it would be best to cultivate some powerful evil ghosts. While thinking about how to strengthen the combat effectiveness of the 10,000 Souls banner, the ghost soul gently waved a small banner in his hand. As the 10,000 Souls banner exerted its power again, the originally somewhat stalemate situation suddenly showed an overwhelming change. I saw that the barrier was flooded with countless black mists. Countless illusory black mists instantly turned into substantial chains, and with a clatter, they entangled the figures of several old men. Soul soldiers, soul-binding chains. Once entangled by the soul-binding chains, all souls became lambs to be slaughtered in an instant, unable to move. Wu Tong, who was watching from the side, saw that all the souls were collected, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Then, the barrier was taken back by Wu Tong. As Wu Tong took back the barrier, countless resentful souls inside, with the souls of the Haoshan sect members, rushed into the 10,000 Souls banner, in the live broadcast room. The Dragon King sprays water, woohoo, a seed in a sea of people, from Guz Henren, a seed in a sea of people, don't despise the poor young man. This scene should be about not practicing hard and being brothers in the 10,000 Souls banner. Don't shake the green lotus. No, no, no. It should be a family reunion. Others, what kind of living hells are these? Sure enough, everyone who comes from the earth is a ruthless person, except for female channels. Dragon King spraying water. By the way, now that these two sects have been dealt with, what are you going to do next? Wu Tong, Seeker, cut the grass and eliminate the roots. Dragon King spraying water. Oh, that's true. 3,000 people have escaped from the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect. Dragon King spraying water. Are you planning to deal with these 3,000 people? But didn't they say they were scattered all over the continent? How are you going to find them, Seeker? That's easy. When I wiped out the sect, I left 2 drops of blood. Based on the blood connection, it's easy to find them. Anyone who has a relationship with these 2 drops of blood must be from the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect and the Haoshan sect. Buyao Bilion, that's a big deal. But to deal with 3,000 people, Brother Tong, you only need to ask other forces for help. Did you form an alliance with them? They can handle this little thing, right? Do they need you to do it yourself, Seeker? Seeker. Who said there were only 3,000 people? Seeker, Yujuan, Blue Tyrant Academy, the 4 major families with single attributes, Thunder Academy Seeker, aren't these all related to these 2 sects? Dragon King spraying water, Lanbai Academy in Yujuan. Liu Erlong and Tang Yuhua, Dragon King spraying water, you can do this? Don't you have any thoughts? Seeing Guru Li's message, Wu Tong couldn't help but sweat on his forehead. Where did she come to the conclusion that he was an animal who thinks with his lower body? Asking questions that he couldn't figure out directly is one of Wu Tong's advantages. Seeker, no, how did you come to the conclusion that I am a pervert? Dragon King spraying water, aren't all time travelers like this? And your maid team, the fire-chasing hero girls group brought back from Hongkei, and the Academy Apocalypse trio, aren't these all evidence? Seeker, Seeker, okay, I admit that I do have some thoughts about the people I brought back, but what does this have to do with any solving my enemies? Wu Tong did not deny that he was lustful. He is not Liu Xiaohu, how could he remain calm when sitting on a woman's lap? Moreover, the people he brought back were either geniuses or future capable assistants, and they were all Wu Tong's future confidants. Besides, those people had no deep hatred with him. With their looks, it would be strange if he didn't have any thoughts, right? But no matter how hungry he was, he would never find his enemy to be his woman, right? Wu Tong felt that he was not Long Aoshan, and it was impossible for him to release his hegemonic spirit and have countless strong men compete to be his younger brother, countless beauties throw themselves into his arms, and even give up the deep hatred of exterminating their entire family for him. He has always been very clear about one thing, that is, he is not the protagonist, so Wu Tong will directly solve all the crisis and hidden dangers if he has the ability, instead of thinking about using them for his own use. In this regard, Marvel's Snake Shield is a good negative example. Seeker, I don't think with my lower body. I can still tell who is the enemy and who is not. Seeker, if I really keep them, who knows what they will do to me. Seeker, besides, they are not the only 2 beauties. There are many beauties in Douluo Continent, not to mention the heavens and the myriad worlds. I don't have to keep them. Seeker, for example, my maid team. Compared with my maid team, I don't think those 2 women are anything special. The Dragon King sprayed water, that's right. The quality of Wu Tong's maid team is really not to be underestimated. This guy once showed off his leisurely life in the group and posted photos of his life. Although there were only a few maids in the photos. But those beautiful figures made everyone in the group envious for a long time. Thinking about it now, Guruli couldn't help but envy and hate. It's really an evil feudal society, Q version of the villain Seaweed Tears JPG. Now thinking about the quality of Wu Tong's maid team, it seems that the only thing that Tang Yuho and Liu Erlong are better than them is their background and strength. King Xianji, he is so sober. He is completely different from the protagonists in the novels I read. Compared with those protagonists who always show mercy while saying that they will cut the grass and root out the roots. Wu Tong is the real one who does not leave any troubles behind. King Xianji, he directly solves all the problems that may arise in the future. After all, the people who raise the problems are gone, so the problems are naturally solved. Don't bully the poor young people. Indeed, if it can be solved directly, it is better to completely eliminate the troubles. Dragon King spraying water. Well, it seems that I have too much of an inherent image of the time traveler. Seeker, what's the matter? And strictly speaking, your inherent image is not wrong, it's just that I am a little different. Wu Tong didn't care about Guruli's misunderstanding. After all, strictly speaking, she was right. Most of the time travelers are animals who think with their lower body. However, this does not include him. After all, Wu Tong's view on beauty has always been, lust without being promiscuous, love without being greedy. Chapter 181 Big Movement, the Foundation of the Xiandao Empire. After this topic was over, Wu Tong's consciousness left the live broadcast room, and after he put the ghost soul back, Wu Tong set off again and left this broken land. In the next half day, Wu Tong's figure appeared all over the world. Yuxun, Tang Yuhua, a direct descendant of Haoshan sect, died. Lanba Academy, Liu Erlong, a direct descendant of Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, died. The residents of the Power Clan, Haoshan's diehards, the Titan family and their clansmen, died. The residents of the Min clan, Tang San's uncle, Bai and his clansmen, died. The residents of the Po clan, although they have broken with Haoshan sect, they are not firm. In order to be on the safe side, the Po clan will be destroyed. The residents of the Yu clan, also, they broke with Haoshan sect, but after Tang San revealed his identity, they returned to the clan in a roundabout way. Therefore, the Yu clan will be destroyed. Thunder Academy, the academy under the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect will be destroyed. Some small villages that no one cares about, the remnants who escaped will die. In a remote and deserted mountain, the remnants who escaped, die. Every time they appeared, Wu Tong would start to attack directly, without giving them a chance to quibble. After directly killing them, he turned around and left, leaving only some blood-stained land. This killing journey lasted until about 6 p.m. in Douluo realm time. The tragic scene can be described as, the mountains of corpses and the sea of blood annihilate the enemy, and the mountains of bones and the souls of the dead. Shui. With the sound of a sword cutting through the sky, it carried a whistling sound that broke through the sound barrier, and with a force that was faster than thunder and lightning. The middle-aged man in front of Wu Tong was nailed to the wall behind him. With a loud bang, the dilapidated house in front of him also collapsed. The figure was submerged and covered the body. Wu Tong waved his hand and collected the resentful soul that emerged from the body, and his consciousness sank into the live broadcast room again. In the live broadcast room. Photographer, it's finally over. This is the last one, right? Puyao Bilion, it should be, but I didn't see Tang Hao and his son and Yu Zia gang. Don't bully the poor young man. Indeed, these guys are still alive and well. Seeker, I deliberately let those guys go, because Tang San and Tang Chen are related to the Shura god. Once they are killed, they will be completely hostile to the Shura god, which is inconsistent with my plan. Seeker, my next plan is not to fight against the god realm for the time being, so let them live for a while longer, but after I deal with the god realm, they will reunite with their families. Wu Tong explained the reason. Compared with his own grand plan, the matter of Tang San and the remaining evildoers was not worth paying attention to. In addition, with their strength, they could not pose any threat to him at all, so it was not a bad idea to let these guys live for a while longer. Dragon King spraying water, god realm. By the way, Wu Tong, your two Taxa sword gods made too much noise. Could it have alarmed the god realm? Seeker, of course it is certain. With the Taxa sword god's movements, it is only a matter of time before he is discovered. However, Judging from the speed of time in the God Realm and Douluo Continent, by the time they react, I may have already hide him, so it is not important. Seeker, the reason why I didn't kill those people is to make them unable to determine my attitude towards the God Realm and to delay the time as much as possible. If you look at the movements of the Taxa sword god from the sky, it can be said that it is conspicuous. However, because of the rules of the God Realm, the gods are not allowed to go down to the world, so even if they want to go down to the world to investigate, they need to hold a meeting to discuss. In this case, it is necessary to hold a meeting of the God Kings, that is, they need to hold a meeting for at least 1 or 2 hours at the latest to decide whether to go down to the world. Moreover, Wu Tong did not attack Tang Sen, who was favored by the Azure God, so the God Realm could not be sure of Wu Tong's attitude towards the God Realm. In this way, the God of Destruction, who disliked the Azure God, would cause trouble, and the meeting time would definitely be extended. According to the time of 1 day in the God Realm, 1 year in the lower world. After that period of time, at least a few months have passed in Douluo Continent. By that time, perhaps the entire Douluo realm has been surnamed Wu. And I believe that by then, with Wu Tong's cultivation speed, he could have directly solved the God Realm. So Wu Tong did not care about the actions of the God Realm. Afterwards, Wu Tong, who had finished his work, closed the live broadcast room and returned to the group to start watering the group with group friends. However, the subsequent impact of his revenge this time caused an uproar among the major forces. Xiandao Empire. In the palace of Xiandao City. In the study where the emperor was doing business. Zhu King was sitting at the desk, looking at the pile of government affairs in front of him, writing furiously. There were 3 maids beside him, serving Zhu King, who was working hard. One fanned the wind, one sorted the books, and one ground the ink. If Wu Tong saw this scene, he might say something shocking. Although Wu Tong's life was similar. At this moment, an urgent sound of footsteps came from far away. After a while, it arrived at the door of Zhu King's study. Immediately afterwards, there was a knock on the door, and that cold and hoarse voice like a ghost. Your Majesty, the news about the 2 sky-high fire pillars has been investigated. Zhu King frowned and paused when he heard it, and then stopped his hand movements. Come in. Yes, Your Majesty. As the voice fell, a middle-aged man in brocade clothes with a very gloomy temperament walked in. This middle-aged man? His name is Savage, one of the foundations of the Xiandao Empire, an 89th level strong attack soul Douluo, and his martial soul is a high-level martial soul, Sunflower Golden Needle. Savage was born in a poor family, and his parents died when he was young because of years of hard work. After his parents died, Savage, who had no skills and could not survive, had to sell himself to the palace. It happened that the palace was recruiting people at that time, so he signed up, but he never thought that the recruitment was actually recruiting eunuchs. So just like that, Savage, who was completely unable to resist, was successfully cleansed and became a little eunuch in the Xiandao palace. But later, because of his high-level martial soul and the 7th level innate soul power when his martial soul awakened, he showed a strong aptitude for cultivation, so he was favored by the royal family. After a lot of investment, he became a soul fighter at the age of only 70. After becoming a soul fighter, Savage officially left the lowly status and was included in the list of offerings by the Xiandao royal family, becoming one of the foundations of the Xiandao Empire. Such foundations are not rare in the Xiandao Empire, and can even be said to be many. This is also one of the reasons why the royal family of the Xiandao Empire, although not as strong as the other 2 major forces, can compete with the 2 major forces. When Zhu King first ascended the throne, he was also very shocked. Although he knew that the Xiandao royal family had hidden forces, he did not expect that this force was so powerful. However, although he knew the existence of this force, Zhu King had no opinion on this hidden force. On the contrary, he was very satisfied. To put it nicely, these people are the foundation of the Xiandao Empire, but their fundamental nature is the Deadpool cultivated and brainwashed by the Xiandao royal family. Chapter 182 The 7 Treasure Glazed Tile Sex Plan. That's why these people are so loyal to the Xiandao imperial family, and they can even sacrifice their lives for the Xiandao imperial family. And now, Zhu King, who has ascended to Dabao, naturally controls these powerful Deadpools without any effort. So, after controlling the Deadpools, Zhu King, who is very happy to see the internal strife of the Xiandao Empire weakened, began to use these Deadpools to clean up the opposition forces in the Xiandao Empire. In this way, Not only does it not have to sacrifice the power of the spirit hall, but it can further weaken the strength of the Xiandao Empire. It can be said that it kills two birds with one stone. After Savage came in, he first bowed respectfully to Zhu King. Then he handed the intelligence he had found out to the maid next to him. The maid took the intelligence, observed it carefully, and after finding that there was no danger, she handed it to Zhu King, whose eyes were calm. Zhu King glanced at Savage and put away the complicated thoughts in his heart. He took the information handed over by the maid. He opened it and read it carefully. After a while, Zhu King rubbed his brows after reading the information carefully. He sighed, "Isn't this too exaggerated? Although I have long known that Tongdi's future is limitless, his growth rate is too fast. If these two attacks were really done by Tongdi, wouldn't he be invincible in Douluo Continent?" Wu Tong did not hide his whereabouts. He attacked the two forces out of pure revenge. Therefore, as long as a force with some strength wants to investigate, it can easily find out that these two attacks were done by Wu Tong. Looking at the information in his hand, Zhu King once again had the idea that he should not come to carry out the mission of stealing the country, but should improve his strength as soon as possible. It's no wonder that Zhu King doubted his life. It was really because Wu Tong's actions this time shocked him too much? After sighing, Zhu King put away the information in his hand and said to Savage, "Go, prepare a generous gift and send it to Brother Tong. Just say it's my gift to congratulate him on his successful revenge, then ask the 3 teaching committee members of the Royal Academy to come and say I have something important to discuss." "Yes, Your Majesty." After hearing Zhu King's words, Savage bowed again and slowly left Zhu King's study. Only Zhu King was left looking at the information in his hand, his eyes flickering, and he seemed to have some new ideas in his mind. Kibaoli sect in the meeting hall. Ning Fengzi looked at the information sent back by his disciples and smiled bitterly. Then he called a disciple and ordered, "Go, find Elder Jian and Elder Gu, and notify Elder Bai by the way, and tell them that the action is terminated." The disciple nodded and then withdrew. After leaving the meeting hall, they took action according to Ning Fengzi's instructions. After a while, Jian Douluo and Gu Douluo came to the meeting hall together. "Fengzi, what happened? I heard from Xiaobei that you suddenly stopped this action." "What happened?" "Yes, Fengzi, the plan to kill the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect to make friends with Wu Tong has been planned for about a week." "Why did it suddenly stop?" As soon as he came in, Jian Douluo and Gu Douluo asked Ning Fengzi. If Ning Fengzi didn't look fine, they would think that Ning Fengzi was mentally broken. Seeing the two elders coming and listening to their questions, Ning Fengzi smiled bitterly. "It's no longer necessary. The Blue Lightning Tyrant sect has been resolved." As he said that, he handed over the secret letter in his hand. "What? It has been resolved? That force acted so quickly? Wasn't it just about a month ago? Haoshan sect? The two empires? Or Wuhanhuo? Or Poseidon Island?" Gu Douluo said in disbelief, as if he had heard something incomprehensible. But Jian Douluo rolled his eyes at him and took the secret letter handed over by Ning Fengzi. He opened it and read it. Bone Douluo, who was standing by, saw this scene and leaned over to read the contents of the letter together. After an instant of time. "Fuck this." After reading it, Bone Douluo looked incoherent, pointing at the letter in Sword Douluo's hand, unable to speak. Fortunately, Sword Douluo, who was standing by, asked for him. "Fengzi, can the contents of the letter be confirmed to be true?" Ning Fengzi nodded and said helplessly, "It can be confirmed that these are all true." "No way, Fengzi, are you saying that the forces such as Haoshan sect, Yuxun, Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, the 4 single attribute sects, and Blue Tyrant Academy were all wiped out? All these things were done by Wu Tong? Is that kid that strong?" At this moment, Bone Douluo, who had come back to his senses, still looked incredulous when he heard Ning Fengzi's words. If he remembered correctly, the kid was only about 12 years old now. Even if he was a divine examiner, he wouldn't be so perverted, right? Where does this put those of us who have worked hard to practice? Although I don't really want to believe it, it is indeed true. Ning Fengzi nodded and said with great conviction. "What are you going to do, Fengzi?" According to this information, Wu Tong has been confirmed as the #1 person in Douluo Continent. Let it go. We have a good relationship with Wu Tong. We just need to maintain this friendship, and we all know Wu Tong's character. He is not a person who kills innocent people indiscriminately. If it weren't for the 2 people from the sect who took action first, I guess Wu Tong would not bother to deal with him. However, his action has completely ruined our preparations. Alice, This kid is still as afraid of trouble as ever. By the way, isn't Wu Tong's academy about to start? Let Rongrong take some disciples with good qualifications to enroll, Ning Fengzi said with a gentle smile. He could understand Wu Tong's approach. Although the principle of cutting the grass and eradicating the roots is crude, it is indeed very practical. However, when talking about Ning Rongrong, a glimmer of unknown meaning flashed in Ning Fengzi's eyes. As Ning Rongrong's father, how could he not know Ning Rongrong's feelings for Wu Tong? In those years, Rongrong always found excuses to run to Wu Tong Garden. It was hard for people not to see it. When Ning Fengzi knew about this, he thought his little cabbage was going to be taken away by a pig. But after checking it out, he found that it was his little cabbage that was looking for a pig to take away. When he knew this, Ning Fengzi wanted to pretend that he didn't know his daughter, but in the end, out of love for his daughter, he chose to let it go and let everything take its course. It must be said that Ning Fengzi is worthy of his good vision. Except for the investment in Tang San, which lost all his money. His vision was pretty good at other times. Thinking about it, Ning Fengzi's smile became even brighter. Now it seems that it was a wise choice not to stop the communication between the two at that time. But in the past few years, for some reason, Rongrong suddenly became reserved and stopped running there. Thinking of this, Ning Fengzi sighed, quite helpless. I really don't know what this girl is thinking, but I hope Rongrong can seize this opportunity and do better. Okay, X2. Chenzin and Gu Rong looked at each other. They naturally understood what Ning Fengzi meant. After thinking for a while, they finally agreed with Ning Fengzi's approach. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183 Bibi Dong's Misunderstanding. Although this is not a proper way to do things, it is just what Rongrong wants. After all, that girl has already tied her heart to Wu Tong. Fortunately, Wu Tong is a good guy and treats Rongrong very well. In addition, Wu Tong is so powerful now that he can protect Rongrong, so the two of them are not opposed to dating. Wuhan City. Pope's Palace. Bibi Dong sat on the Pope's throne, tapping the handle of the chair with her index finger, crossing her legs, listening to Cardinal below reporting about the two sky-high flame pillars. Her face was lazy and calm, but this look did not destroy her noble and luxurious temperament, but added a unique charm to this temperament. Bibi Dong was in a good mood during this period. Her disciple Hulina did not disappoint her. After taking the fairy grass nine-tailed fox flower exchanged for linguang mengdi, her martial soul had completely evolved. The current martial spirit, the nine-tailed fox, can already be ranked among the top martial spirits, and it is the top among the top. Bibi Dong regards Hulina as her own daughter. Seeing her daughter's progress and achievements, she is naturally very happy. Should I let Nana go to Wu Tong's academy? Although I don't want her to leave me, if she goes to the academy, Nana should make greater progress. Bibi Dong thought while listening to the report of the cardinal below. It's not that she doesn't want to do something, but she is simply powerless. After all, in her cognition, this kind of powerful attack has definitely reached the realm of God. Bibi Dong, who has the inheritance of the Rakshasa god, naturally knows the power of God. Not to mention her alone, even if all the title Douluo of the entire Wuhan Hall are added, they are not the opponent of God. You know, everyone below the gods is an ant. Not to mention the person who can cause the attack of the two flame pillars, according to the information in the Rakshasa inheritance, even in the god realm, he is definitely a strong man. In short, according to Bibi Dong's thinking, this must have been done by God. Under the overwhelming absolute strength of God, what else can she do? She can't fight, and she can't calculate. Maybe with the knowledge of God, her plan will be seen through before she can use it? Alice, I'm tired, so let it go. Bibi Dong is playing dirty JPG. The cardinal below obviously didn't notice Bibi Dong's carelessness and was still reporting his work seriously. Cardinal reporting, Your Holiness, this is what happened. The final investigation result is that this matter was done by Mr. Wu Tong. After saying this, the cardinal bowed to Bibi Dong above. After hearing this, Bibi Dong's originally careless demeanor suddenly stopped. This result really surprised her. Originally, I thought it was the god who came down to the world, but I didn't expect it to be Wu Tong who did it. In this case, it is not impossible to make a plan. Bibi Dong subconsciously stopped tapping the handle, and instead crossed her arms across her chest, and began to ponder. After all, no matter how strong that kid was, he was only a 12-year-old kid, and Bibi Dong was confident that she could fool him. However, thinking of this, Bibi Dong hesitated again, and after a while, she rubbed her forehead with a headache. If she wanted to fool him, she must not be discovered in the future. After all, judging from Wu Tong's character, he would definitely not accept deception. If he was exposed, the backlash might be even stronger in the end. You said it would be fine if you didn't get discovered? That's a good idea, but it's impossible. As the saying goes, if you walk by the river often, you will get your shoes wet. It's easy to make up a lie, but it's too difficult to make this lie never exposed. After a while, Bibi Dong sighed, thinking for a long time, but still had no clue. In the end, Bibi Dong gave up the tempting idea of controlling Wu Tong and decided to focus on winning him over. Well, I understand. Go down. I have my own considerations for this matter. By the way, call the Saint and the Golden Generation. I have something to tell you. Yes, Your Holiness, Xingluo Empire. In the capital Xingluo City. Xingluo Palace. It is not the time for court, but a large group of people are gathered in the Emperor's study. At a glance, this small study is full of high-level people from the Xingluo Empire. Xingluo Emperor, Queen, Crown Prince Davis, Crown Princess Zhu Huayan, Duke of the Netherworld, Xingluo Worship Title Douluo, Xingluo Patriarch, and General of the Army are all gathered in this small study. Tell me, what should we do next? Xingluo Emperor threw the secret letter in his hand on the desk in front of him and looked at the crowd in front of him, who were silent. Everyone also had a secret letter in their hands, and the content was exactly the same as that in the hands of Xingluo Emperor. It was all about Wu Tong's massacre today. It must be said that although the Douluo Continent is small, it has its advantages, that is, the flow of information is very fast. As soon as Wu Tong left, he was clearly investigated by spies from major forces. Emperor Xingluo narrowed his eyes and felt the dead silence. He couldn't help feeling helpless. These old foxes, Your Majesty, I have a way. Just as Emperor Xingluo was about to speak again, Davis stepped forward and saluted Emperor Xingluo. Oh, my son has this ability? I haven't heard of it. Emperor Xingluo's thoughts were running wildly, but on the surface he was expressionless. Say it, let everyone listen and see if it is feasible. After a moment of silence, Emperor Xingluo slowly spoke. With Emperor Xingluo's consent, Davis no longer hesitated and blurted it out. Father, Grandpa, Lord, everyone, my method is not very difficult. I believe everyone should be very clear about Mr. Wu Tong's character and personality. He was able to pass on the knowledge he sorted out to the world, which raised the entire Soul Master system by several levels, and he did it without asking for anything in return. Judging from his thirst for knowledge, this kind of person is completely a devout learner. It can even be said that he is a harmless scholar, harmless to humans and animals. You really dare to say that? Everyone's eyes twitched, but in the end they still didn't say this complaint. Chapter 184, The Star Luo Empire's Small Abacus. I believe everyone has already understood the cause of this incident. If it weren't for the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect and the Haoshan sect attacking Mr. Wu Tong first, Mr. Wu Tong would not have taken them seriously at all. This also shows that no matter how powerful Mr. Wu Tong is, as long as we don't target him, we don't have to worry about him posing a threat to us. Hearing this, everyone's face twitched again. This sentence is true, but who would put their own life and death above the kindness of others? Davis's words were as good as nothing. Isn't this all nonsense? Looking at Davis, who continued to talk, everyone's eyes were unclear. Well, they saw that Davis was asking for benefits for himself. Okay, stop talking nonsense, tell me your solution quickly. As long as it is really feasible, then I can make the decision and let you sit on the throne of the Crown Prince completely. The royal ancestor on the side glanced at Davis and finally let go. As the oldest person in the Xingluo Empire, this ancestor naturally has a lot of say, and he is also a titled Douluo. So the previous emperor, in order to win him over, gave him a blank imperial edict. In other words, this ancestor has a chance to fill in the imperial edict on his own. This is equivalent to the will of the previous emperor. Even if the current Xingluo emperor wants to oppose it, he is powerless. After all, from the fact that the rules handed down from the beginning of the founding of the country have not been changed, it is enough to see the worship and respect of the ancestors of the Xingluo Empire. Fortunately, This ancestor has a high moral character and has never thought of using the imperial edict. However, it seems that an exception will be made today. Ancestor, the law of the ancestors cannot be changed. How can this national policy be easily changed? No, the winner of the prince's battle will be the emperor, but this is the eternal rule of Xingluo. Hearing the words of the Xingluo ancestor, everyone was shocked, and many of them hurriedly spoke out to dissuade him. These people are all betting on other princes. If Davis really becomes the crown prince, will they have any chance to turn things around in the future? However, these people only want to stop Xingluo Patriarch's actions, but they did not see Davis' eyes, which are so deep, like a black hole, as if to swallow everything. Are these people the ones who have been against him? I didn't expect them to take the initiative to jump out. This is a good thing. Just when Davis was thinking about how to get rid of this group of people without leaving any traces, Xingluo Patriarch on the side had a gloomy face, and a powerful aura emanated from the old figure. For a moment, everyone was shocked by this aura, and the voice fell unconsciously. Seeing that the scene was finally quiet, Xingluo Patriarch also looked like he was disappointed with his opponent. Shut up, the ancestral law cannot be changed. Then why don't you give me a better solution? Why don't you talk? As long as you come up with a good solution, I will take back what I said just now. When the Xingluo Empire is facing life and death, you guys are still only concerned with fighting for power and profit, and have no idea of sharing the worries of the country. You only think about the ancestral law. Can the ancestral law allow our Xingluo Empire to continue? As long as Weiss can help the Xingluo Empire continue, then based on this achievement, the position of a crown prince can be said to be more than enough. Hearing the words of Xingluo Patriarch, everyone was speechless. Indeed, the preservation of the empire is the first priority. As long as it can help the Xingluo Empire continue, all the rules can be followed. However, the crown prince. Everyone quietly turned their eyes to the Xingluo Emperor, ready to see what he would do. I agree with the old ancestor. Everything is based on the continuation of the empire. As long as the prince's plan is effective, I will immediately announce to the world that the prince is the only heir to the empire. Seeing those glances secretly looking at him, Emperor Xingluo could not help but be speechless. Why are they looking at him? He is a little stubborn, but he is not a fool, right? Under such circumstances, the continuation of the empire is naturally more important. And it will be useful if he disagrees? How is this possible? Do you understand the value of the late emperor's will? When the old ancestor Xingluo saw that Emperor Xingluo agreed, his old face smiled like a chrysanthemum. Weiss, tell me your plan. Hearing the words of the ancestor, Davis, who had long since come to his senses, smiled lightly, bowed his hands and saluted, saying, "Then I will be disrespectful. I went to Mr. Wu Tong a few days ago. At that time, Mr. Wu Tong had just been promoted to title Douluo. Although Mr. Wu Tong had upgraded very quickly before, everyone knows that the promotion of title Douluo is not only an increase in soul power, but also an improvement in perception. So I guess that even a god examiner like Mr. Wu Tong can't become a god so quickly. Then this attack should be the work of the gods behind Mr. Wu Tong. But no one knows whether Mr. Wu Tong can summon this kind of attack again, so even if Mr. Wu Tong has not become a god, we still can't neglect Mr. Wu Tong, and, even if Mr. Wu Tong doesn't have this kind of attack, a title Douluo god examiner still needs our full efforts to win over." Hearing Davis's guess, everyone nodded in agreement. Seeing that everyone agreed with his statement, Davis nodded, and then continued. "Since we need to win over Mr. Wu Tong, the easiest way is to cater to his interests. We know this too, but who on the mainland doesn't know that Mr. Wu Tong is only interested in rare ancient books, and he already has the Xiandao Empire's library, plus the ancient books he obtained through some information. The books on the entire continent are almost all collected by Mr. Wu Tong, and we can't take out so many ancient books that Mr. Wu Tong doesn't have, right?" Hearing Davis's method, the people on the side also looked bitter. The method is indeed useful, but they can't take it out. "Can you listen to me?" Davis rolled his eyes and ignored this group of sad guys. He continued, "When I say cater to his interests, I don't mean books, but beauties. According to the information collected, Mr. Wu Tong has never been close to women. It is said that those stunning maids bought by Mr. Wu Tong are still virgins until now. Isn't this just right?" Davis interrupted the group of people, his tone full of confidence. Chapter 185 Davis's Honey Trap, the Divine Realm Committee. There is no man in the world who is not lustful. Mr. Wu Tong just puts his mind on academics and doesn't care about these things. If there is no woman around Mr. Wu Tong, then I can't speculate, but since he has those stunning maids around him, it means that beauty still has an effect on Mr. Wu Tong. As long as the beauties we send can be liked by Mr. Wu Tong, then, yes, why didn't we think of this? If Mr. Wu Tong really doesn't like women, why is there so many beauties around him? At this moment, everyone present looked as if they had suddenly realized something, and they couldn't even hear what Davis said next. In their heads, they imagined one after another the scenes of the women they sent being appreciated by Mr. Wu Tong. After a while, everyone came back to their senses from their fantasies. When they looked at Xingluo Emperor again, their eyes were full of burning heat. Your Majesty, I have a daughter who is intelligent, lively and clever. Come on, your daughter is a princess. Let alone seduce Mr. Wu Tong, it's good enough if she doesn't make people angry. Your Majesty, let my daughter go to Mr. Wu Tong. Your Majesty, my niece is also a rare beauty. This is definitely a lucrative job. With Mr. Wu Tong's personality, as long as the person he sends can become his woman, then it is not a dream for the whole family to take off. For a while, in order to fight for this opportunity, the study suddenly became a noisy vegetable market scene, and some ministers even started to quarrel and wrestle for it. Looking at the chaotic scene in front of him, Emperor Xingluo didn't care. At this moment, he was very excited. According to Davis, the success rate of this plan could even reach 40%. This probability is worth a try. Okay, be quiet. The worshipper on the side saw this scene and burst out with the momentum of a tidal Douluo. Feeling this momentum, some of the people who were distracted immediately realized their own impropriety and suddenly quieted down. After the scene was restored, Emperor Xingluo looked at Davis again and said gently, "Weiss, do you think those women in the empire can be sent to Mr. Wu Tong? It's stable, completely stable." Hearing that Emperor Xingluo changed his address to Weiss from the Crown Prince, Davis knew that his position was completely stable. As long as nothing unexpected happens, the next Emperor Xingluo will definitely be himself. As for the others? Oh, what can they use to compete with him? Restraining his restless heart, Davis began to reply, "Your Majesty, I think." Hearing this, the ministers on the side all looked at Davis, their eyes full of expectation, hoping to hear the familiar names from Davis' mouth. My sister Dai Yuiao, my sister Dai Yuhang, and Su Kaianqian, the second daughter of the Su family. The next moment, a series of names came out of Davis' mouth, like a list that had been prepared long ago, and were read out as written. And Zhu Zhuqing from the Zhu family, these women can all be sent to Mr. Wu Tong. Zhu Zhuqing. When Emperor Xingluo heard this name, his eyes condensed, and his eyes looking at Davis were full of unknown meanings. This is to eliminate future troubles. However, thinking that he had already regarded Davis as the crown prince, in addition to his useless, self-degrading waste third son, Emperor Xingluo suddenly fell silent. Forget it, since the decision has been made, let it be. If you don't make a decision, you will suffer from the chaos. After a moment of silence, Emperor Xingluo sighed, waved his hand and said, "Okay, let's do as you say. Father is wise, your Majesty is wise." Amidst a burst of calls, the Xingluo Empire also began to take action to win over Wu Tong. Not only these four forces began to take action. Poseidon Island, the major element academies, the four lower sects and other forces also quickly got the news. After a round of consideration, all forces suddenly understood that they must not be enemies with Wu Tong, a strong man. Therefore, in order to establish a good relationship with Wu Tong, these forces all began to take action, outside Douluo Star. God Realm. The clouds and mists are ever-changing, sometimes like rolling waves, sometimes like a quiet beauty. Each change is irregular, but it brings more beauty and shock to people. The towering palace is shining with a faint golden luster under the halo of the God Realm. This is the commanding height of the entire God Realm and the place that controls everything in the God Realm. God Realm Committee. At this moment, this palace that has not been opened for a long time has been opened again. And inside the palace, on a round and gorgeous table, 5 figures sat opposite each other, dividing the table into 5 equal parts. These 5 figures are the 5 great gods of the God Realm. The God of Life, the God of Destruction, the God of Kindness, the God of Evil, and the God of Shura. The 5 great gods control the God Realm and rebuke all gods. In this world, they have a lofty status and supreme power. Usually, the 5 gods are each secluded in a corner and take care of their own affairs. But today, for some reason, The 5 god kings gathered here at the same time. Jura, what is the big deal that requires us to discuss together? The god of destruction spoke first with an impatient look on his face, and his tone was very aggressive. He and God Shura have never had a good relationship. Ziozi, since Shura is so anxious, there must be something important to discuss, otherwise there is no need for us to come here so quickly. Let's listen to what he has to say first. The god of life comforted her husband, and then looked at God Shura on the side, ready to listen to his explanation. Yes, Shura, hurry up and talk, we still have things to do. The god of kindness and the god of evil on the side were also anxious towards God Shura. With their temperaments, they don't like to stay in such a serious atmosphere. Then let's take a look at this first. After all, they have lived together for such a long time, and God Shura is very clear about the personalities of these guys. So there was no more nonsense, and he waved his hand to release the scene when Wu Tong released Takes a Sword God. Is this Douluo Continent? The evil god king looked at the screen and recognized the scene at a glance. After all, the unique cultivation rules are also unique in the world controlled by the god realm. It is indeed Douluo Continent, but why did Shura let us see Douluo Continent? The good god king beside him also recognized Douluo Continent and asked with a puzzled look. The god of life and the god of destruction next to him also looked puzzled. Chapter 186 The Solemnity of the Divine World, the successor of the God of the Universe? However, they knew Shura God very well and knew that he was not a person who would shit without purpose, so several gods continued to watch patiently. After a while, the scene came to the scene where Wu Tong released Takes a Sword God. X5. Fuck, where did this fierce guy come from? He is so awesome before he becomes a god. The evil god king was shocked. He has seen many awesome people, but this is the first time in so many years that he is so awesome. He has not become a god yet, but even he, the god king, can't help but feel palpitations with such destructive power. What will happen if he becomes a god? Douluo gods seem to have nothing strong except lifespan. Except for destructive power, their defense seems to be not very good, so I think Takes a Sword God can threaten the god king. The good god king was also shocked by this power and didn't know what to say. The eyes of the god of destruction on the side lit up. What a talent. This kind of talent should become his successor and shine for the god realm. God Shura saw the light in the eyes of the god of destruction and knew what he was thinking. He then said, I have observed him for a while. It seems that some gods have regarded him as their successor. What's the big deal? Just let that god give way. The god of destruction waved his hand carelessly. He didn't believe that his request as a god king could be rejected by those gods who were not god kings. Dare to reject me? Are you trying to make things difficult for me? That's the problem. The god who is interested in him is not a god from the god realm. As soon as God Shura's words came out, they immediately attracted the attention of the other 4 god kings. As god kings of the god realm, they naturally know a lot of things that gods don't know, including that there are other gods in the universe besides the god realm. However, because those gods cannot determine the enemy relationship, the god realm has always been vigilant against gods outside the god realm. This is also the reason why they will wander in the universe after they step down from the throne. Because only by improving their own strength can they resist those gods who are not from the god realm. If you want to go to the universe, you need to give up your position as a god, because the position is not only a responsibility, but also a right, and also a kind of bondage. When a god's strength reaches the limit of his position, no matter how hard he tries, he can no longer improve his strength. At this time, the god needs to find an heir to inherit the position, so as to take off the responsibility and bondage. In this way, the god can enter the universe and continue to improve his strength. Not a god in the world of gods? How do you say that? The kind god king looked at the Shura god with a solemn expression. Because from Wu Tong's destructive power, he can have a fighting power comparable to that of gods without becoming a god. In this case, the god who gave him the inheritance must be stronger than all of them. And most importantly, they can't be sure of this god's attitude towards the world of gods. If he has ill intentions towards the world of gods, then Wu Tong, this amazing genius, is no longer a treasure, but a time bomb. Therefore, the kind god king hopes that the Shura god is joking. The Shura god did not speak, and waved his hand to release another picture. It was about Wu Tong's treasure exchange list for major forces. Looking at the top resurrection item in the picture in front of him, the other 4 god kings were silent. It was obvious that even they could not revive people at will. To revive a person, a complete soul was needed as a medium. But Wu Tong's resurrection item did not have this restriction. This already explained Wu Tong's identity. Then let's discuss it. How should we treat this divine examiner of the universe god? Seeing that the other god kings were silent, Shura God said in a calm tone. He did not expect that a small character who did not care much at the beginning could make him wait in a serious manner now. Now it is difficult. Before knowing Wu Tong's opinion on the god realm, they cannot be tough with Wu Tong, lest that god take advantage of the issue, just when the god realm committee was discussing how to treat Wu Tong. Because of the speed of time, the time of Douluo Continent has quietly come to the next day. Douluo Continent. Vertical day. In the Afterglow Canyon. Wu Tong, who was awakened by the biological clock, opened his eyes dazedly from his sleep. Huh? Why is the body so heavy? Wu Tong felt a heavy pressure on his body, and after he recovered, he looked down. Nang Guangyun's naked figure instantly came into view. Ah, no wonder it was so heavy. It turned out that Nang Guangyun had his hands and feet on him. Looking at this familiar scene, Wu Tong gradually woke up. After dealing with those guys from Haoshan sect and Landian Tyrant sect yesterday, he chatted with the people in the group. After that, he returned to the academy and had a meal with Douluo and a group of people, and then went back to the room to rest, of course, with Nang Guangyun. After sorting out his thoughts, Wu Tong looked at Nang Guangyun's figure, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. I have to say that the saying is also wrong. Who said there is no plowed field, only tired cows? You know, this cow almost plowed a field yesterday. After a smile, Wu Tong planned to get up. It's not that Wu Tong doesn't want to continue sleeping, but there are still 2 days before Wu Tong goes to participate in the Luotian Daijiao. After returning from the Luotian Daijiao, the academy will start. There is really no time to rest. Moreover, Wu Tong still has a lot of things to do today and tomorrow, such as moving the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, moving the lake of life, moving the golden tree, and moving Panyan Village. These things need Wu Tong to do it personally, and others can't do it. Oh, by the way, other people can do the moving of Panyan Village, but Wu Tong still wants to do it himself. Since what happened 6 years ago, he was forced to be trapped in Xiandao City and couldn't go out. Other forces didn't make things too difficult for Panyan Village for the sake of Zhu King. After all, they were interested in him, not Panyan Village. But even so, Wu Tong and the villagers of Panyan Village were separated, and Wu Tong couldn't go back to visit the villagers. Although Wu Tong has been exchanging letters with the village over the years, he still misses that simple and honest village. Now that Wu Tong has this powerful strength, he has the ability to protect Panyan Village. So he plans to pick up the villagers in the village and arrange them near the college in the next few days. In this way, Wu Tong can take good care of them and repay the help they have given him. Chapter 187 The relationship between the Golden Courtyard and Yingji. Those little troubles have been solved, and the problems of the academy are handed over to Raven and the others. Anyway, this is their job, isn't it? Now the only thing to do is to move those places. Then today we will move the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire and the lake of life, and tomorrow we will look for the village and the golden tree. After making up his mind, Wu Tong did not hesitate anymore. After all, if he finished these trivial matters early, he could rest early. Then, Wu Tong carefully removed Nang Guangyun's hands and feet on him, and then turned over and got out of bed lightly. After getting out of bed, looking at Nang Guangyun's innocent sleeping face, Wu Tong smiled gently. Then, Wu Tong picked up the quilt that had been kicked off the bed by the two of them at some point. After covering Nang Guangyun with the quilt, he kissed her head gently. Then, Wu Tong turned and left the bedroom, went to the bathroom, washed up, changed his clothes, and walked out of the room. After leaving the room, Wu Tong walked slowly towards the academy, passing through the lake island, playground, garden, and viewing pavilion. Without stopping, Wu Tong went straight past these beautiful buildings and came to the residence of 13 Yingji. Looking at the warm courtyard in front of him, Wu Tong couldn't help but feel a lot of emotion. This residence really has the atmosphere of a golden courtyard. This style of residence should be found by Alicia, right? After feeling emotional, Wu Tong looked at the building in front of him, thought about it and didn't go in, but walked to a bench for people to rest, sat down, and took out his Soul Guide mobile phone. Then he skillfully opened a chat group called Golden Courtyard and sent a message, Golden Courtyard, chat group. Feng Qi Wu Tong, I'm going out to play. Does anyone want to go with me? Today's journey includes the Lake of Life in the starred-out Great Forest and the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire in the Sunset Forest. Feng Qi Wutong, you can find some strange flowers and plants, as well as rare and exotic animals unique to this world. Infinite Snake, rare and exotic animals? Why don't you just say soul beasts? It's not like we don't know about the situation in this world. Infinite Snake, but I am indeed interested in soul beasts, so I'll go with you. May, I want to go there too. It's a good time to go out and relax. Looking at the information in the database, the scenery of these two places is pretty good. 8 equal genius, then I'll go too, but I need to wait a while. May, Mobius and I are still in the laboratory. 8 equal genius, by the way, where are you, Wutong? We'll be there soon. Feng Qi Wutong, I'm at the gate of your yard. 8 equal genius, Golden Courtyard? I'll be there soon. Wutong was stunned when he saw Wei Erwai's message. This place is also called Golden Courtyard? Is this the fate between the 13 heroes and the Golden Courtyard? Stealing Fush and Ban Rixen, Boss Wutong, are you at the door? Then come in quickly, it's still a bit cold outside. During this period, the weather in Douluo world has gradually entered autumn. Although it is a little chilly now, it is not cold. Feng Qi Wutong, up, no need. In fact, it is not that cold outside now. It is almost noon. Feng Qi Wutong, and, Patuo, you should go out too. You always stay at home. Aren't you afraid of getting moldy? Wutong shook his head helplessly. It's over. This cat is probably useless. Since coming to the academy, Patuo seems to have entered hibernation. He stays at home all day, doing nothing but sleeping there. If Patuo hadn't shown his face at the party last night, Wutong would have thought that this guy ran away. But then again, if someone wants to hibernate, should it be Mobius? Isn't Patuo a cat? Pink Fairy, nice scenery? Pink Fairy, then Miss Fairy will come with you. My good Hiden, can you go with me? Golden Dream, okay, let's go together. Pink Fairy, great, by the way, let's go together, it's a good time for team building at all members. Instant Noodle Man, if May goes, then I'll go too. Instant Noodle Man? Looking at his title, Kevin was stunned at first, then shook his head helplessly. Only Alicia had the leisure to do such a thing. But after Kevin shook his head, he let it go and didn't care about Alicia's little prank. From experience, it's better not to look for Alicia at this time. After all, Kevin doesn't think his eloquence is better than Alicia. The best way is to leave it alone. When she feels that it's meaningless, she will change it back by herself. Master G, no, go away. Wei Shi Fan Xing, Uncle Jin Ji, you can't be so rude, you have to get along well with everyone. Master G, seeing this news, everyone was stunned. This musical symbol Fu Sheng Ruo Mang, Alicia, where are you? Pink Fairy, hey, have you been discovered? I'm here with Little Gray. Looking at the messages in the group, Wutong felt amused. It's worthy of being Yingji's retirement life, it's really so joyful. Thinking of this, Wutong couldn't help but sigh. With so many people with different and even conflicting personalities together, only a flawless person like Alicia can control them. Not long after, whether the 13 Yingjis wanted to go or not, they were pulled in front of Wutong by Alicia in the name of team building. Accompanying them was Douluo, who was called by Wutong. After all, the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire used to be the old man's territory. Although he has handed it over to himself now, if he wants to move, he should let the former owner know, right? Lest the old man not know, there will be some misunderstandings at that time. For this purpose, Wutong plans to bring Douluo along. Puff, when Patuo saw Wutong, she immediately pounced on him. Boss Wutong, you must protect me. I heard that the starred-out Great Forest is a gathering place for soul beasts, and there are also ferocious beasts. I heard from Sister Snake that those ferocious beasts don't have a good impression of humans. If we go there, you must protect my life, Patuo. I don't want to die young. The crowd, who were still surprised by Patuo's actions, rolled their eyes when they heard Patuo's words. This cowardly little cat hasn't changed at all. With us together, what can those so-called ferocious beasts do to you, Patuo? That's not necessarily true. Chapter 188 The Flaws of the 13 Heroes. Douluo, who was standing by, was not surprised to see this scene. Although they had only known each other for about a day, Wutong was the bridge of communication, so when they gathered last night, the group quickly became familiar with each other. It was also at that time that Douluo found out the personalities of these visitors from another world. Although Kevin and others did not think of hiding it, Douluo, who knew her personality, was not surprised by Paduo's actions. Looking at Paduo, who pounced on him, Wu Tong was also a little amused. Did this guy overestimate the so-called fierce beasts in this world? Thinking of this, Wu Tong also smiled and said, "Okay, you think too much? The fighting power of the fierce beasts in this world cannot be compared with the herrschers in your world. With Kevin and his strength, they can be said to be basically invincible in this world." Who knew that Paduo did not feel comforted after hearing this, but still looked like he was afraid of death. "Boss Wu Tong, of course I know about this, but didn't you tell us that some soul beasts in this world have very strange abilities? Sister Ai Li and the others are very strong in combat, but they may not be able to deal with this kind of means." It's not that Paduo doesn't believe in Alicia and Kevin, but Wu Tong's introduction was a bit exaggerated, so Paduo thought that Alicia and the others could not deal with those strange abilities. After all, she knew very well that the combat effectiveness of the 13 heroes was very strong, but there was no definite resistance to some strange abilities. In short, although the 13 heroes were powerful in combat, they were too biased and could only deal with some straightforward enemies. Once they encountered enemies with strange abilities, their shortcomings would be revealed. Thinking back, even Kevin was not controlled by the spiritual system's herrscher of knowledge only after he implanted the precepts. Moreover, Kevin lost the right to dream because of this. This incident also left a deep impression on Paduo. It was precisely because she thought this world was very dangerous that she hid in the house all day and turned a deaf ear to what was happening outside. Hearing what Paduo said, Wu Tong was also somewhat amused. "I did say that, but although those strange abilities are very strange, most of them can't do anything to you. The reason why I said that at the beginning was to remind you not to be careless. As for if you really fight, those means will at most cause a little trouble, and will not really cause any life-threatening danger. Then where are we going this time? Are there any soul beasts with those strange means?" Hearing Wu Tong's comfort, Paduo's expression was slightly restrained, but he still asked nervously. Hearing Paduo's question, Alicia, Vilvi, Mebius and others beside him also pricked up their ears curiously. Wu Tong was silent for a while, then he said, "Yes, there are, but they are not that difficult to deal with." Really? Paduo's body, which had finally relaxed, tensed up again, and asked hurriedly, "Boss Wu Tong, what are those creatures called? Tell us, Paduo, and I can hide a little." The time, evil power and life and death arena of the dark demon evil god tiger, the power of destiny and world luck of the three-eyed golden lion, and the soul beast co-leader silver dragon king, and some other soul beasts need to be paid attention to, and there are no more. Wu Tong said in front of everyone's expectant eyes. Time and evil power, life and death arena. When Mebius heard this news, the desire in her eyes almost overflowed. It seemed that she was very interested in this soul beast. The power of destiny? And the world's luck. Can this ability also be controlled by living beings? As a Shenzhou person, Mei is naturally very clear about this power. As the saying goes, 1 is destiny, 2 is luck, 3 is feng shui, 4 is cultivating merits and 5 is reading. The power of destiny and luck. Even she, who doesn't know much about Taoist metaphysics, has heard of it. Now, she heard that there are creatures that can control this kind of power, which made Mei a little surprised. Haha, Paduo, don't worry. Since I dare to take you there, it means that I am sure of it. You don't have to worry about safety. Wu Tong looked at Paduo's appearance, comforted her first, and then looked at the eager eyes of the other people and smiled. Since everyone can't wait, let's go. After that, Wu Tong didn't waste any more time. If they continued to chat, it would be almost noon, and they would have to eat soon. Let's go. The first place we will go to this morning is the yin-yang eye of ice and fire, and then we will go to the starred-out great forest in the afternoon. As he said that, Wu Tong wanted to open the portal. However, just when Wu Tong was about to open the door, Alicia on the side stopped him. Wait a minute, Wu Tong. Wu Tong stopped what he was doing and looked at Alicia on the side with a puzzled look. What's wrong? Is there anything else you need to prepare? Alicia smiled slyly. No, but we have only been in this world for a few days. We have been in the academy and haven't been out much. Why don't we walk over there and take a good look at this world? After hearing what Alicia said, Wu Tong suddenly realized that this was indeed true. Not counting the time he spent in the dungeon, Alicia and the others had only been in this world for about 2 days. Thinking of this, Wu Tong had no objection, so Wu Tong said indifferently, "Okay, but forget about walking. Otherwise, let's drive." It just so happens that the soul guide I made some time ago was not used much and was eliminated because of the emergence of space ability. Now it seems that this can be used. That's great, thank you, brother Wu Tong. Alicia clasped her hands together and thanked. When Wu Tong heard her address, his face was immediately black, but he didn't say anything. He casually opened the space in the storage soul guide and put out more brand new soul guide motorcycle. Cool. Kevin saw these cool soul guide motorcycles and praised them with his eyes shining. This Kevin is Lee 2 Kevin. Although he is also an ice cube, he is not crazy because he has the company of other heroes. In a way, this Kevin still has some youth. Cool. Cosmo was also a little excited. After all, the appearance of these soul guide motorcycles is so cool that this big boy can't stop. Su and Kyanji and others on the side are also very satisfied with these soul guide motorcycles. Chapter 189 The Power of the Ideal Fluid. After all, men have no resistance to cool things. By the way, Douluo is an exception. He still rejects this familiar soul guide that embarrassed him. These motorcycles are really good, and it seems that they have integrated a lot of technologies from other worlds. As a technical expert, Wei lay on a soul guide motorcycle and observed it carefully for a while. Looking at the dense Taoist talismans on the soul guide motorcycle, the soul guide core containing the core technology of the soul guide, and the mechanical gears full of ancient wisdom and other traces of several different technologies, he made a judgment. Haha, what do you think? This is also the culmination of my technology. Although it is a bit backward for now, some of the technologies in it are worth learning from. Wu Tong laughed. Some of the contents of soul guide technology are indeed worth learning from. Although the destructive power is not very good, it is indeed worthwhile if it is used in people's livelihood. For example, the energy contained in a first-level soul guide core is enough to make the soul guide motorcycle run at full power for about a week. This energy utilization rate is among the best in all the systems controlled by Wu Tong. If it is only used to meet the needs of life, the soul guide device is indeed convenient. However, the geniuses are obviously not very interested in this topic. By the way, you all know how to drive, right? After explaining, seeing that several people were not interested, Wu Tong did not continue to talk about this topic. Instead, he looked at the few people beside him with a smile on his face and changed the subject. I am a beautiful girl as gorgeous as flying flowers. What can I not do? Alicia said proudly. She is a flawless person. How could she not know how to drive a motorcycle? The others also nodded, indicating that there was no problem in driving these soul guide motorcycles. After all, these people are either geniuses, or they have learned how to drive motor vehicles when they were training in the Fire Chaser Moth, so each of them can drive a vehicle. Seeing that everyone said it was okay, Wu Tong's eyes moved to Douluo in a teasing manner. Of course, he had not forgotten about the guy who was carsick. Why are you looking at me? I can do it, too. Douluo saw Wu Tong's eyes and rolled his eyes at him. He really thought he was a fool. The appearance of the soul-guided motorcycle represented a revolution in the transportation industry of Douluo Continent. In the future, soul-guided motorcycles will definitely become a must-have equipment in the transportation industry. Now that he knew the future of this thing, how could he not try to control this tool? After all, this thing is not only fast, but also does not consume its own strength. It is indeed very convenient to use it to travel. So within these few days, Douluo quickly learned to drive the soul-guided motorcycle with the physical control brought by the strength of the title Douluo. That's fine, let's go. Wu Tong curled his lips when he didn't hear the answer he wanted to hear, and said to everyone. Then he stepped onto his exclusive car that he had driven once before, the Dodge Tomahawk. After getting on the car, Wu Tong started the engine and began to lead the way. In order to take the people behind him into consideration, Wu Tong did not drive very fast. This way, it met Alicia's request to enjoy the scenery. Seeing Wu Tong go ahead, the others followed closely. Each found a soul guide motorcycle, sat on it and followed closely. The group drove slowly on the flat road. With a unique roar of the soul guide motorcycle, they embarked on the journey to the yin-yang eye of ice and fire. Fortunately, the Yuhu Canyon where the academy is located is not far from the Sunset Forest. So, within an hour or so, the group arrived at the periphery of the yin-yang eye of ice and fire, Sunset Forest. The poison circle outside the yin-yang eye of ice and fire. Just go through, Don't worry about it. From a distance, a group of people saw the poison circle set up by Douluo, but Wu Tong didn't care and spoke directly. For him now, this poison circle that seemed like a natural chasm is now like a child's toy. Wu Tong has at least thousands of ways to directly cross this poison circle. Wind tunnel passage. The power of the Herrscher of Wind was mobilized by Wu Tong from his skill bar. As the light blue energy surged on Wu Tong's body, the breath of the Herrscher of Wind gradually spread. The power to create and control ideal fluids instantly showed a completely different use method in Wu Tong's hands than Wendy. Hualala. Everyone saw that the poisonous fog in front of them seemed to turn into flowing water. The originally foggy gas flowed around like flowing water. Soon, the wall of poisonous fog in front of everyone seemed to be deliberately welcoming everyone. In front of everyone's advance, a hole large enough for people to pass through was broken. The real power of the Herrscher of Wind is not the power to control the wind, but the ability to create and control ideal fluids. In essence, it boils down to controlling macroscopic movements. To put it more simply, it can turn the earth into liquid, the sea into solid, and the air into a barrier. As long as he has this ability, Wu Tong can even do some incredible things, such as making hard water, soft ice, cold fire or hot snow and other substances, turning metal into plasticine and then shaping it at will. These things are very easy for Wu Tong. And turning the poison mist into liquid, flowing in all directions, and creating a passageway for people to pass through, this kind of trivial matter is naturally very simple. Facing this incredible scene, except for Douluo, the heroes did not have any shocked expressions. Even Paro, a lazy kitten, looked indifferent. After all, they had faced the enemy of the Wind Herrscher before, and they naturally knew her power very well. It is not uncommon to be able to control the power of ideal fluid to this extent. Fortunately, both the Herrschers of the previous civilization and the current civilization are not knowledgeable people. Otherwise, once these abilities representing the embodiment of the power of physical laws appear on some physics doctors, they dare not even think about how much harm will be caused. But now that the Herrscher has been defeated, these things are naturally irrelevant. Seeing the passage appear, the group did not waste Wu Tong's intentions and entered the wind tunnel passage one by one. After everyone entered, the poisonous mist that had turned into liquid also collapsed and turned back into its original gaseous state. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190, The Alien World Successfully Promoted to the Small Thousand Worlds. In a short while, the remaining hole was completely filled. Yin-yang eyes of ice and fire. Wow, is this the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire that Wu Tong mentioned? So beautiful. After getting off the car, Alicia couldn't wait to run to the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire. The magnificent and fantastic scenery made her exclaim in admiration. Others were also amazed when they saw the stunning beauty of ice and fire. It must be said that the scenery of yin-yang eyes of ice and fire is indeed magnificent and intoxicating. Even Wu Tong, who saw it again, couldn't help but feel intoxicated. Yes, this is the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire that I mentioned. How about it? Nice scenery, right? The blue ice spring and the red fire spring blend with each other but have clear boundaries. The scene of mutual generation and mutual restraint between them contains all kinds of mysterious ways and principles. It is like a miracle created by heaven and earth. It not only blends the two completely different energies of ice and fire together, but also allows them to coexist harmoniously. Especially the place where the yin and yang of ice and fire merged, the barely detectable purple color added a touch of fantasy to this miracle. The scenery is really good, and this place is quite suitable for plant growth. Mebius closed his eyes and felt the power of ice and fire in the air, then looked at the extremely lush herbs growing beside him, and quickly analyzed the efficacy of this treasure land. Kevin didn't say anything, looking at the yin and yang eyes of ice and fire in front of him. He seemed to be somewhat touched, and the two forces of ice and fire in his body began to try to merge in a mysterious way, and the aura on his body gradually floated up. Douluo's eyes were full of emotion, but there was no reluctance or regret. Gray Xiu found an open space, took out his drawing board, and prepared to record this beautiful natural miracle. Pato turned his eyes and stared at the medicinal garden outside the yin and yang eyes of ice and fire. Looking at the posture, there was a feeling of impatience. Pato, some herbs are poisonous, Seeing Pado's eyes, Wu Tong said with a smile. Ah. There are poisonous ones? Forget it. After being reminded by Wu Tong, Pado immediately wilts like a deflated balloon. Then, Pado, who had nothing to do, lay down under a tree and dozed off. As for the others, they also began to visit the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire. Wu Tong looked for a while and then stopped. After all, he had seen it before and had developed resistance to the scene. Seeing the others' enthusiastic look, Wu Tong thought about it and did not disturb them. Let them take a look first, there is no rush anyway, Wu Tong thought. So Wu Tong walked to the side, found a tree, and laid down without paying attention to the fallen leaves on the ground. Then he sank his consciousness into the chat group. Chat group, start, in the Dimension chat group. As soon as Wu Tong entered the group, he was bombarded with a lot of prompts. It is detected that a new cultivation system has appeared in this world for the first time, and it has been widely spread, attracting the attention of the world consciousness. The luck of the group leader Dragon King Spraying Water has been greatly improved, and he has now become the son of luck in the world of spiritual energy recovery. Congratulations to the administrator seeker of the way. The system of the God Ring Master you created has been detected by the world consciousness, and the system is the great way to heaven, which is favored by the world consciousness, and the world gives you a ray of the origin of the world. It is detected that a new cultivation system has appeared in this world for the first time, and it has been widely spread, attracting the attention of the world consciousness. The luck of the group member Don't Despise the Poor young man has been greatly improved, and he has now become the absolute protagonist of the depot world. Congratulations to the administrator seeker of the way. The system of the God Ring Master you created has been detected by the world consciousness, and the system is the great way to heaven, which is favored by the world consciousness, and the world gives you a ray of the origin of the world. It is detected that a new cultivation system has appeared in this world for the first time, and it has been widely spread, attracting the attention of the world consciousness. The luck of the group member King of the Heavenly Base has been greatly improved, and he has now become the son of luck in the world of super seminary. Congratulations to the administrator seeker. The Divine Ring Master system you created has been tested by the world consciousness and is favored by the world consciousness. The world will give you a ray of the origin of the world. As soon as he entered the group, a large number of prompts sounded instantly and bombarded Wu Tong. Along with it, there were also rewards given by the world consciousness from various worlds. Seeker, it has finally arrived, but are you spreading the Divine Ring Master system now? Wu Tong looked at the rewards that arrived and was not surprised. This was his plan. As long as the practice system he created can be widely spread in other worlds, then with the universality and strong potential of the Divine Ring Master system, it will definitely be favored by the world. In this way, it is understandable that he can get rewards from the world consciousness. However, Wu Tong did not hide this matter from the group members. Wu Tong had already told them the news when he helped the group members awaken their martial souls. After the group members knew about it, they did not refuse Wu Tong's request and agreed to help Wu Tong promote the Divine Ring Master system. After all, this matter, whether for them or for their world, is a good thing with more benefits than disadvantages. Since there are benefits, why not do it? But what surprised Wu Tong was that the reward was only received today. Dragon King Spraying Water, isn't this normal? Dragon King Spraying Water, let's not talk about our rest time. The explanation and promotion of the Divine Ring Master system, as well as helping others awaken their martial souls, will take a lot of time, right? Dragon King Spraying Water, it's only been about a day, it's already very fast. Don't bully the poor young man. Yes, Brother Tong, the martial soul awakening ceremony you gave is too troublesome. You can only awaken the martial soul for one person at a time. In this way, it is not easy to gather enough people to be detected by the world in one day. Don't shake Billion. That's right, Brother Tong, I'm fine. I have the help of Master and others, but Xiao Yan is miserable. There are only him and his girlfriend awakening people's martial souls. It is not appropriate for Yao Lao to be exposed now, because there are people from the Soul Palace in the Jiama Empire, Buyao Bilion. But Brother Tong, it is really thanks to you. Since my master came back, he has successfully broken through with the help of the Divine Ring Master system, and has now completely entered the third level. Buyao Bilion, influenced by the Master's breakthrough in the spread of the Divine Ring Master system, our world has now collected enough information and has successfully promoted from the half-step small thousand world to the small thousand world. Chapter 191 Rewards from the Chat Group and World Consciousness. Harvest time. The world levels are set as Hangsha world, broken, no magic, small 1000 world, low martial arts, low magic, medium martial arts, medium magic, medium 1000 world, high martial arts, high magic, super martial arts, super magic, great 1000 world, a complete world that can be used for people to practice to the realm of transcendence, supreme world, the highest level world that can accommodate 10th and 11th level strongmen. P.S. After becoming a 10th level transcendent, one's own size is equivalent to a world, so after transcendence, one must go to the endless void, otherwise it will cause damage to the world. In other words, except for the supreme world, other worlds cannot accommodate transcendence for long-term existence. Of course, it is still possible to stay for a short time. The following is the text. Buyao Bilion. When the world was promoted this time, the rewards given by the chat group and the world consciousness can be said to be enough to make people full. Buyao Bilion. Designated red envelope, a wisp of the origin of the world. Buyao Bilion. This is given to me by the world consciousness, but it is useless to me. However, you now have a world, which should be useful to you. Then, consider this as a reward for your help. Moki Shaonian Ki, 666, so generous. Dragon King Spraying Water, Chulan Jijini, I also want a red envelope. Buyao Bilion, Buyao Bilion, Group Leader, please be normal, I am afraid JPG. Seeing the news that Guruli was full of tea art, Zhang Chulin shuddered. However, Zhang Chulin did not refuse Guruli's request for a red envelope. He was a smart person. Naturally, he would not hesitate to have such a good opportunity to build relationships with group members. Buyao Bilion, lucky red envelope, group assistant, group member Buyao Bilion sent a lucky red envelope, everyone come and grab it, group assistant, group member seeker has received a designated red envelope seeker. As for the awakening ceremony, I have already made it, and will upload it to the group file in a while, you can take a look at it yourself. Seeker, also, the world has been promoted? So fast? Congratulations, at Seeker. In this way, your world will usher in a period of rapid development. Under the influence of the upcoming extraordinary craze, your cooperation with the country should be easier, haha, that's a must. Even if there is no world promotion, I have the confidence to reach a cooperation with the country. Wu Tong looked at Zhang Chulin's message and flipped through the chat history with a surprised look. Sure enough, he soon found the news about Zhang Chulin's world promotion. This is a big surprise? World promotion is a good thing. Not only can it accommodate more powerful people, but it will also cause an extraordinary craze. In this way, the strength of the alien world will surely increase by a large margin. In this way, Zhang Chulin and others should be able to develop faster. Moreover, if the world is promoted, as an important promoter, I will also receive rewards from the chat group and world consciousness. You know, the rewards for the spread of the God Ring Master system and the rewards for world promotion are very different. It can be said that each has its own advantages and disadvantages. The God Ring Master system is favored by the world consciousness. It is a long-term and continuous future. When the strong in the world gradually become stronger, the world consciousness will gradually give Wu-Tong rewards. As for world promotion, it is a wave of sudden wealth. At the moment of making a fortune, the world consciousness will directly give Wu-Tong a large amount of rewards based on his contribution. After congratulating Zhang Chulin, Wu-Tong did not pay attention to the red envelope battle in the group, but uploaded the new version of the martial soul awakening ceremony, deduced by the intelligent brain to the group file. Then he hurriedly opened his group space. At this moment, there were a lot of things in the group space. Those clutter piled on the ground to form a small hill were rewards from the chat group and the world consciousness. Looking at the clutter in front of him like a small hill, Wu-Tong did not have the slightest impatience, but began to sort it out with a smile on his face. After an instant of time, Wu-Tong sorted out all the things, and because he had so many treasures, Wu-Tong specially made a list for this. World Consciousness Reward, spread the cultivation system, 11 strands of world origin given by 11 worlds. Help the alien world to advance, and the world consciousness will give 30 strands of world origin. In addition, a portion of the protagonist's luck, an analysis of the structure of the innate key origin, the prototype of civilization authority, and a collection of key training methods from ancient times to the present. P.S. Because when I was under one person, I didn't have the ability to connect to the Akashic record, so I only collected all the current techniques. not the previously lost ones. Chat group reward: promote the divine ring master cultivation system in other worlds, and reward the heaven covering method, Sun Sutra, the Sun Law, and the 36 heavenly gang methods of 9 breaths of submission. Help the world to advance, and be rewarded with 30 strands of the origin of the world, and a gift pack of materials for refining the conferred God list, Void Purple Key, Heavenly Deo Rules, God Deo Laws, Emperor Deo Laws, Immortal Source Crystal. Looking at the list in front of him, Wu Tong couldn't open his eyes with laughter. 41 strands of the origin of the world rewarded by the world consciousness, 30 strands of the origin of the world rewarded by the chat group, plus 1 strand given by Zhang Chulin, and 1 strand of the origin of the world that he already had. Wu Tong alone has 73 strands of these precious origins of the world. This is the origin of the world, not something that is common on the street. Unless the world takes the initiative to give this kind of treasure, it cannot be obtained by other methods. Scarcity makes things valuable. It is because it is extremely rare that it is even more precious. Therefore, in this endless void, even the 10th level transcendents are extremely eager for the origin of the world. There are other rewards, which are also extremely precious, a portion of the world's luck, and those who understand will understand, things that can make people's luck better. As the saying goes, when the time comes, the heaven and the earth will work together, and when the luck is gone, the hero is not free. This is the role of luck. Once you have enough luck, the whole world will help you. Isn't that the case with the children of luck in other worlds? Jump off a cliff and survive, and you will get inheritance. Buy trash and get treasures, be favored by the strong and protect a way to survive. Survive in desperate situations and rise to the top. As long as you have enough luck, it means that your future path will be smooth. As for the innate key source structure, the prototype of civilization authority, and the collection of key training methods, these things also make Wu Tong satisfied, but these are just small episodes. The real big head still depends on the rewards given by the chat group. Chapter 192 Tyrant Song's Eyes, Pregnant Gaze. After all, although the alien world was promoted, it was just a newly promoted small world, and the things given were not that good. But the chat group was different. As a platform for seeking the truth and mutual assistance created by the transcendents and some big world consciousnesses, it could be said that it couldn't be more generous. Even if Wu Tongzi only guided a half-step small world to be promoted to the small world, he also gave Wu Tong a lot of good things. Apart from the origin of the world, whether it was the heaven-covering method, the Sun Law or the 9 breaths of submission, they all surprised Wu Tong. The heaven-covering method, Sun Sutra, one of the ancestral scriptures of the human race and the heaven-covering world, is as the saying goes, the moon and the sun, who is weaker and who is stronger, yin and yang work together, and the world is called the emperor. From this sentence, it is enough to see the gold content of the Sun Sutra. The Sun Law, although it is unknown which world this Sun Law is the law of, even the weaker world's Sun Law is enough to allow Wu Tong to step from practice to the level of enlightenment. 9 breaths of submission, one of the 36 magical powers of Xiangang, is the supreme method of restoring breath regulation. It gathers the energy of heaven and earth and can heal injuries and restore the overall state. It only takes a few breaths to restore the dying state to the peak. Most importantly, this technique is enough for Wu Tong to use until the 10th level. In addition, Wu Tong was very satisfied with the refining materials of the conferred God list. Although he had obtained the refining method at the beginning, the countless precious materials that could be heard from the names also gave Wu Tong a headache. Wu Tong originally planned to use the origin of the world to transform those precious materials, but he didn't expect that the chat group would directly reward him with one. This also made Wu Tong feel relieved. After all, if he had to use the origin of the world to transform the materials, he would still feel a little distressed. The origin of the world, as the foundation of the construction of the world, is itself a kind of omnipotent energy, which can naturally be transformed into other things. Its power is terrifying, but this transformation is irreversible, so the origin of the world is precious. Looking at the list in front of him, Wu Tong packed all the knowledge rewards and sent them to the intelligent brain, which was responsible for backup, preservation, and deduction and fusion. The material treasures and the origin of the world were kept in the group space, and Wu Tong did not intend to take them with him. After packing up his things, Wu Tong returned to the chat group. But he saw that the red envelopes in the chat group had been snatched away. Photographer, I got rich, and I actually sent a red envelope of 100,000 points at, not bad, The points alone and the things rewarded to me this time are about 5 million, this little money, just sprinkle it. Don't bully the poor young man. Sure enough, after having money, the confidence is different. Dragon King sprayed water, indeed. Dragon King sprayed water, but then again, the chat group is really worthy of being dedicated to helping the world to be promoted. It's just a promotion of a small world, but there are so many rewards. Dragon King sprayed water. I'm envious, drooling 3000 feet JPG, Dragon King sprayed water, but our world Chenchi Zion Iao, world promotion Chian Zion Run. Hey, we were chatting well, why did you suddenly do this? Seeing the atmosphere in the chat group gradually turn bad, Zhang Chulan realized that something was wrong and quickly began to change the subject. Yeo billion, okay, why are you doing this when you are so happy? Why do you worry so much? As for world promotion, can't you just let it go? Yeo billion, by the way, after you went back, did you awaken any powerful martial souls? Yeo billion, this time I awakened the martial soul from my junior uncle. His martial soul is really cool, a volume of the wordless heavenly book. Yeo billion, not only can you automatically organize what you have learned and then bring forth something new, but you can also imprint your abilities on the martial soul and use it more conveniently through the martial soul. Yeo billion, that posture is just like an automatic turret. After being interrupted by Zhang Chulan, the atmosphere in the group gradually began to warm up. Dragon King sprays water, this is really amazing. I can't tell what it is now. If he gets some skills like explosion magic, atomic fission, or merciless sun in the future, he will be a ruthless human nuclear missile launcher. Dragon King sprays water. As for our world, because we are modern people, we have big imaginations, and the awakened martial spirits are all kinds of strange. Dragon King sprays water, there are many amazing ones, but there are also many weird ones. Dragon King sprays water, just like yesterday when I awakened the martial spirit for our middle school minister, you would never have thought what kind of martial spirit he awakened. Don't despise the poor. What martial spirit? Dragon King sprays water, forget it, I really don't know what to say, you can watch it for yourself. Dragon King sprays water, please watch the video, the one in white clothes is our minister. Dragon King sprays water, martial soul awakening video AV. Seeing Guruli's evasive look, everyone became even more curious. So everyone clicked on the video uploaded by Guruli one after another, even Wu Tong was no exception. Everyone, hiss. After watching it, everyone couldn't help but take a breath. Although the video is only 1 minute long, the scenes in it are really cruel. In the video, two men stood opposite each other. One was wearing white clothes and his face was full of arrogance, as if he was the boss and I was the second. The other was wearing a black robe, his face was full of indifference, and he was a nice handsome man at first glance. At this moment, there were 3 soul rings hanging behind both of them, and the scene was solemn, as if they were going to fight. As the sound of starting sounded, everyone saw the arrogant man in white clothes suddenly looked up and looked directly into the eyes of the man opposite him, with a silver light flashing in his eyes. Then, the first soul ring behind him emitted a light. Then, there was a sentence that made everyone's chrysanthemums tighten. What is filial piety? What is love? Feel the greatness of maternal love. The first soul skill, the Eye of Tyrant Song, as the voice of the minister in white fell, the man in black clothes opposite him was hit before he could react. The next moment, his cold expression instantly collapsed. He covered his stomach tightly with his hands and fell to the ground, and began to wail miserably. Along with the wail, the black-clothed man's belly slowly grew bigger. Gulp. After watching, everyone swallowed hard. This Tyrant Song's eye, could it be that Tyrant Song? Isn't this the pregnancy gaze? Just by looking at each other, you can make the other person pregnant. What a devilish soul skill. If anyone is hit by this move, I really can't imagine how badly he will die. Chapter 193. There are thousands of strange martial spirits, and only half of them are created by the imagination of the earth. Continued from the last chapter, do not despise the poor young man, you can have sex. Seeker, 666, how did he come up with this idea? Wu Tong could not help but speak out. This minister's imagination is really too big, right? The original serious body spirit was used in a weird way that made people want to complain. Dragon King sprayed water, who knows? A good body spirit was turned into a tool for social death by that idiot minister. Dragon King sprayed water, not only the first spirit skill, the Tyrant Song Eye, but the other two spirit skills are also difficult to evaluate. Dragon King sprayed water. Now everyone in the department lowers their heads and runs away when they see him, and dare not look at him at all. Dragon King sprayed water. In addition to him, there are some weird teammates, and the spirits they came up with are also very weird, such as the Neon spirit, the random curse generator spirit, the sex change ray spirit, and the Zemu river spirit. Dragon King sprayed water. Although the strength of these spirits cannot be determined, they are indeed disgusting. Seeker, awesome, I admire you so much. There are tens of thousands of strange martial spirits, and half of the earth can be made of them. Seeker, I admire you so much JPG. Don't bully the poor young people. Modern people still have bigger imaginations, unlike us. Don't bully the poor young people, Alice. My people really lack imagination. How can they awaken powerful martial spirits if their hearts are not big enough? Don't bully the poor young people. I have awakened martial spirits for 10 people in total, but most of them are swords, sticks, and the like. Even the best one is a medicine martial spirit. Don't bully the poor young people. Let's wait for a while, let them have more experience, and then awaken the martial spirits for the rest. King of Xianji, the martial spirits of the little angels are not bad. It is indeed a martial spirit system that can be related to the spiritual system. Many angels have awakened suitable martial spirits. Xianji King, like space wormholes, skyblade warships, celestial computers, stellar celestial bodies. Lazy Fall Angel, hey, you are getting more and more outrageous. What the hell is a stellar celestial body? Lazy Fall Angel, it can't really be a sun, right? Xianji King, you guess it right. Looking at Gabriel's unbelievable look, his eye smiled lightly. Is she surprised? She hasn't even mentioned the black hole martial spirit yet. Not to mention some technologies that only exist in imagination, such as the perpetual motion machine martial spirit, the neutron warship martial spirit, and the latitude weapon martial spirit. These have not been revealed yet. Don't say these are too strong. Compared with the martial spirits awakened by the people in the group, there is still a big gap. In the later stage, the grown-up God Ring Master can easily control the latitude and create black holes. These things are just a big advantage in the early stage, and they are basically useless in the later stage. Wu Tong was going to say a few words, but suddenly felt a strange feeling coming from his body. It was as if someone was scratching his nose with something, making Wu Tong feel like sneezing. Achoo! With a sneeze, Wu Tong confirmed that it was not an illusion. So Wu Tong opened his eyes helplessly and looked at the guy in front of him who was playing a prank. Alicia, you'd better be fine, otherwise you'll have a hard time. Hey, seeing Wu Tong open his eyes, Alicia quickly put the things in her hands behind her, and stuck out her tongue, looking innocent and cute. Although she put it away quickly, Wu Tong still saw what Alicia was holding. It was a weed that could be seen everywhere on the ground. This kind of grass is called barnacle, also known as dogtail grass. Dong, Wu Tong did not cooperate with her idea. When he heard the sound of hay, he immediately knew that Alicia was fine and just came to play a prank. So Wu Tong did not indulge this guy, and handed it to this guy with a bang. Ouch, it hurts, Alicia cried out in pain, covering her head with both hands, looking at Wu Tong with an innocent face. Okay, stop pretending, aren't you guys going to go shopping? You come here to disturb my rest. Wu Tong rolled her eyes at her and said. Alicia smiled and responded, I'm sure I haven't finished shopping, but I can't delay your trip. You can come to this place later, so it's more important to do business first. By the way, what are you going to do here? Wu Tong didn't keep it a secret and replied directly, moving the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, moving. Hearing Wu Tong's words, Alicia seemed to have thought of something, and tapped her lips with her index finger, looking excited. Are you going to move to the academy? Wu Tong nodded. Yeah, that's great. Then you can see such a beautiful scenery when you go back later. Alicia's eyes narrowed into crescents and said with a smile. Wu Tong didn't reply this time, but stood up, patted the fallen leaves on his butt, and then walked in front of the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire. Seeing Wu Tong coming over, the others guessed that he was going to do something serious, so they all walked aside and stood with Alicia, guessing what Wu Tong was going to do. Wu Tong didn't care about the gazes of the crowd and started to act. Buzz, the perception that was bound to the side of the body was released instantly, and it went to detect downwards. In a short while, the huge perception had found what Wu Tong was looking for. The remains of the Ice and Fire Dragon King. Just below the yin-yang eye of ice and fire, at a depth of 4,000 meters, the remains of 2 dragons were lying there quietly. The surging ice and fire energy surrounding the body was still emitting power and assimilating the surrounding environment. It's about 4,000 meters deep, and the area affected is about 1 kilometer in radius. It's okay, and it's a little simpler than I imagined. Wu Tong retracted his perception and began to operate the power of the ruler of the void. Crack, crack, with several crisp cracking sounds, everyone realized that Wu Tong had used the space barrier to cover the land within a radius of about 1 kilometer of the yin-yang eye of ice and fire. The sharp and cold space barriers on all 4 sides covered all the land within this range, deeply immersed in the land, and drew a square on the ground. After that, the extension of the space barrier did not stop, but continued to spread downwards. Not long after, when it reached 4,000 meters underground, the 4 space barriers stopped extending downwards. Then, 4 rays of light flashed from the end of the underground barrier, and gathered towards the location of the remains of the Ice and Fire Dragon King in the center, with a plain as the direction. Chapter 194, Yin-Yang Eyes of Ice and Fire, Relocation Successful, Departure to the Great Star Forest. After the 4 rays of light converged, a new space barrier began to form, completely separating the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire from the land. It's done. Feeling that the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire had been completely separated from the earth, Wu Tong's eyes moved slightly. At this time, the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire had completely separated from the land. Then, Wu Tong once again controlled the power of the ruler of the void and unfolded the domain of the imaginary space. In an instant, the unfolded imaginary space was like a big mouth, and then swallowed the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire into the imaginary space. When everything was calm, the only thing left was a square, 4-kilometer deep giant pit. The cuts around the pit were neat and flat, like a carefully trimmed and measured plane, without a trace of ups and downs, and looked like a work of art. At this moment, although the ground they relied on disappeared, everyone did not fall down because of Wu Tong's actions, because when infiltrating the power of space, Wu Tong had already condensed a space barrier under their feet. Therefore, after Wu Tong took away the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, a group of people were able to stand in the void, unaffected by gravity, and fall into the abyss. Gulp. This Douluo looked at the deep pit under his feet and swallowed unconsciously. Although he already knew that Wu Tong was very strong, Douluo had never had a clear concept. Now that Wu Tong suddenly made such a big move, Douluo felt how powerful Wu Tong was. This kind of great power can move mountains and fill the sea, and change the world. By the way, with this kind of strength, this kid would not have become a god, right? On the side, Wu Tong, who dug out the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, did not notice the shock from Douluo, otherwise he would definitely tease this old friend. After putting the 13 heroes and his group in the forest on the side, leaving a message to wait a moment and come back soon, Wu Tong opened a dimensional door and returned to the academy. After returning to the academy, Wu Tong did not intend to stay, but went straight to the back of the academy, the island in the middle of the lake that he had inspected with Douluo. At that time, Wu Tong had thought about moving the yin-yang eyes, but he was in a hurry, so he never took action. Now it's all right. The yin-yang eyes have been moved here by himself. He just needs to find a place to put them. After that, Wu Tong found a suitable place and dug a hole of the same size as the yin-yang eyes. Then he put the yin-yang eyes in. It fits perfectly. It's worthy of me JPG. Looking at the yin-yang eyes that fit perfectly, Wu Tong nodded with satisfaction. Yin-yang eyes moved successfully. After getting the yin-yang eyes, Wu Tong took the land dug from the island in the middle of the lake and returned to the hollow of the sunset forest. Then he threw the land dug from the island in the middle of the lake into the hollow. Everyone looked at this scene in a daze. It must be said that it fits perfectly. If they didn't know that this place had been dug before, and there was a scene that was incompatible with the scenery of the forest, they might have thought that this place was originally like this. After solving the problem of yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, Wu Tong looked up at the sky. It's almost noon. But it's still early now. It's not too late to finish the work and then rest. As for eating, let's go to the starred-out Great Forest to eat. So Wu Tong said something to everyone, and after getting everyone's consent, he summoned the dimensional door again and stepped in. Seeing this, everyone followed him and entered it one after another. So, in the blink of an eye, everyone came from the sunset forest to the outskirts of the starred-out Great Forest. The outskirts of the starred out great forest. In a small town, there are not as many people setting up stalls as outside the soul hunting forest, because this is not the soul hunting forest, the hunting ground for soul beasts raised by the spirit hall, but a place where the jungle law of the jungle prevails. Here, even at the busiest time at noon, the figures are still sparse and scattered. Because here, in addition to the people who originally lived in the town, the people who can still walk here are either desperate people or some soul masters who need soul rings. That's right. If it wasn't for the last resort, who would have nothing to do and come here to seek death? Xingdao Great Forest is one of the places where soul beasts gather the most. The soul beasts in it are countless in both species and number. Here, it can be said to be a paradise for soul beasts. Even in the outer circle, there are many powerful soul beasts that have lived for tens of thousands of years, not to mention the mysterious, strange and unfathomable inner circle. Since the alien race has such strong strength, its danger can be imagined. Therefore, this Xingdao Great Forest is not a good place. There are countless human corpses buried there. It is for this reason that Xingdao Great Forest also has another name, that is, the human restricted area. People who come here are either strong people who are confident in their own strength, or some pure desperados who can be ruthless and fight for the property left by the previous soul masters. Wu Tong and his group directly crossed the dimension gate and came to this town full of hostility. The pedestrians on the road just took a look and didn't pay much attention. Yes, there are a bunch of beautiful women inside, but so what? Although they have never seen such beautiful women, they are not fools. Do you really think they didn't see how this group of people came here? Or do you think they don't know the famous poison Douluo? That's the space gate, and there is Douluo there to go up and cause trouble? It's almost like looking for death. As the saying goes, the stupid people are often the ones who die the fastest. Here, the stupid people die the earliest, and those who can survive are a group of smart people who can judge the situation and get along with everyone. They will never provoke people who should not be provoked. Wu Tong glanced at the pedestrians on the street next to him. Looking at this group of pedestrians who were either in a hurry, nervous, or vigilant, their faces were all full of indifference. There is no way, just get used to it. As long as they don't come up to cause trouble, Wu Tong doesn't bother to pay attention to this group of people. Let's go, let's find a place to eat first, and then go into the Xingdao Great Forest. Looking at the sky above the town, which was always covered with dark clouds, Wu Tong said to the people beside him. Okay, let's go quickly, I don't like it here, it feels so depressing. Chapter 195 Wu Tong, the feeling of fooling people is not very touching. Continued from the last chapter, okay, let's go quickly. I don't like this place very much. It feels so depressing. Alicia looked at the town in front of her, feeling the depressing and heavy atmosphere in the air, and frowned slightly. The others also frowned, and it seemed that they didn't like this place very much. Wu Tong was not surprised about this. It was indeed difficult for a group of heroes to adapt to the life of desperados. Douluo, who was standing aside, saw this and felt a little strange about why these people were like this, but he didn't care too much. After all, strong people all have some quirks, don't they? What's more, these are people from another world, and it's normal for them to be uncomfortable with the local climate. So Douluo smiled and said, then let me lead the way. I've been to this town before, and I remember that a restaurant in this town tastes pretty good. I hope this restaurant is still there now. That's great. Thank you, old man. Paddle, who was standing aside, imitated Wu Tong's address and said to Douluo. Douluo nodded, replied a few words in a gentle tone, and then took a step to lead the group to move. With Douluo leading the way, the other people followed closely. Soon, everyone came to a small restaurant near the east side of the town, near the exit. Haha, it seems that it is still there. Fortunately, I didn't make a wasted trip. After seeing the small restaurant, Douluo said with some nostalgia. This restaurant is very simple, with only 2 small floors. The first floor is the hall, and the second floor is the private room. At this moment, the first floor is full of people, and it is very lively. There are loud discussions, bragging, drinking and playing finger guessing. All kinds of sounds are intertwined, making the whole restaurant noisy. Seeing this, the group frowned. This environment is a bit bad. Wu Tong is not a person who lacks money. Seeing this environment, he is also a little disgusted and immediately decides to find a private room. This is not Wu Tong's pretentiousness, but the environment on the first floor is really not good. Can you imagine a group of men, drinking, chatting and farting with their shirts off? The noise was so loud that it was like a riot of demons. It was so loud that it shook the earth. So, after Pato found the owner, the group went straight to a private room by the window on the second floor. After reaching the second floor, the sound was almost gone. If you didn't listen carefully, you couldn't hear it at all. Wu Tong saw this and took a look at the surrounding walls. He immediately found that the walls were made of sound-absorbing wood. No wonder the sound insulation effect was so good. After the sound from the first floor could no longer be heard, the others were obviously relieved. After everyone was seated, Wu Tong took the menu handed over by the owner and prepared to start ordering. However, after taking a few glances at the novel names of the dishes on it, Wu Tong found that he didn't recognize any of them. Then, Wu Tong, with a look of frustration, handed it back to the owner who was waiting on the side. Fry 1. The owner was a little confused. What does fry 1 mean? It means serve me all the dishes on it. Seeing this, Wu Tong could only repeat it. Okay, all the soul masters, please wait a moment, we will serve you the dishes right away. Hearing Wu Tong's words, the owner immediately smiled and responded to Wu Tong respectfully, then left the private room with the menu. Huh? I can finally eat, I'm so hungry. As soon as the owner left, Pato immediately exposed her true nature and lay on the table and started to complain about her hunger. Did you eat this morning, Pato? Seeing Pato slumped like this, Hua asked in confusion. Yes, Sister Hua, I slept too late last night and got up late this morning, Pato said a little wilted. Plus, I just got up in the morning and saw the news from Boss Wu Tong. I didn't have time to eat before I was dragged here by Sister Ai Li. At this point, Pato looked at Alicia who was harassing Grace with resentment. Oh hey, receiving Pato's resentful eyes, Alicia turned back and glanced at Pato, feeling a little embarrassed. But she didn't know that Pato hadn't eaten. When she went to find Pato, the cat had already started to clean up the room. She thought Pato was ready to leave. In fact, Pato was cleaning up the room when she just got up, not when she was about to leave, so, a wonderful misunderstanding was born. Seeing this, the others on the side were also a little amused. Looking at the embarrassed Alicia, an idea emerged in their hearts at the same time. You are worthy of it, Alicia. When there are troubles, you can solve all the troubles, but when there are no troubles, you are the biggest trouble. Okay, then eat some snacks first. Hearing Pato's words, Wu Tong also glanced at Alicia helplessly, and then took out the gourmet tablecloth. Everyone is familiar with the gourmet tablecloth. They have used this thing several times and have been familiar with it for a long time. Seeing Wu Tong took out this treasure, the others did not hesitate to be polite with Wu Tong. They directly opened their mouths to report the names of the dishes to the gourmet tablecloth and ordered a bunch of desserts before the meal. Brother Tong, I thought you didn't bring the gourmet tablecloth, so we had to find a restaurant to eat. If you brought it, why do we still need to find a restaurant? Wouldn't it be more convenient to just use the gourmet tablecloth? Pato asked Wu Tong vaguely while stuffing food into her mouth. Finish your meal first, then talk. Wu Tong barely understood Pato's question and rolled her eyes at her. Can eating shut your mouth? Although she complained in her heart, she didn't forget to explain to Pato. Although the gourmet tablecloth is convenient, you can't always use it. If I have to leave for something, will you still eat without the gourmet tablecloth? After all, gourmet food should return to life. Besides, how can human potential be better than a machine? Some chefs can't even make as much food as the gourmet tablecloth. There are some worlds specially built with gourmet characteristics. The chefs in them are all people who can turn ordinary ingredients into magic. The meals they make are much better than the gourmet tablecloth. Moreover, not to mention some gods of food, gods of cooking, and gods of stoves. These guys who can be called gods for their cooking skills are not simple either, so, you should have some pursuits. Don't always stare at the gourmet tablecloth. Try more gourmet food made by chefs themselves. Maybe you can find the kind of chef I'm talking about. I'm kidding you. It's actually because I lent the tablecloth to Kana and just asked for it back. If you hadn't told me, Patu, I would have almost forgotten it. But I have to say, it feels good to fool people. Hearing this, Patu's eyes lit up. She didn't have any great pursuits. Her lifelong wish was just to live a good life and have enough food and clothing. But now that she had achieved such a pursuit, she should set a higher pursuit for herself. Chapter 196 The Emperor's Auspicious Beast, the Three-Eyed Golden Lion. For example, eating food that tastes better than the food made by the gourmet tablecloth. Wu Tong and others, this pursuit is a bit strong, but that's it, Alice. Thinking of this, Patuo's eyes are about to shine. The people on the side watched Wu Tong teasing the cat, looked at each other silently, and did not expose Wu Tong, but watched this scene with a smile. The kitten was deceived and dared not speak out. It seems quite interesting, isn't it? I just don't know when Patuo can react, laugh. Everyone is having fun, this is true. Just as Wu Tong continued to fool Patuo, the dishes he ordered were brought up one by the waiter. After a while, seeing that the food on the table had been served, everyone stopped watching the show and all began to taste the good food that Douluo said. This taste is indeed not bad. Although it is not very delicious, it has a unique flavor. Now it seems that what Wu Tong said is not too wrong. The gourmet tablecloth can only reflect the food you have eaten. There are still many foods in the world that you have not eaten. You should always try more. Alicia and others thought silently while eating. After finishing the meal and paying the bill, Wu Tong led a group of people to the direction of the star forest. Looking at the clearly visible star forest not far away, Wu Tong smiled and felt a little expectant in his heart. I don't know if I can meet the Shrek people on this journey. In fact, Wu Tong can directly teleport himself and his group to the Lake of Life. This little thing doesn't take much effort. But Wu Tong didn't do it, but teleported himself and others to this town. As for why he came here instead of entering the inner circle directly, there is another reason besides eating. Before coming to the Star Forest, Wu Tong received news from the Dark Agents he had planted around Shrek Academy. According to the news from the Dark Agents, Oscar, a student of Shrek, has broken through level 30 a few days ago, and Zhao Wuji led the students to the Star Forest. Isn't this a coincidence? Therefore, because the time was right, and Wu Tong also wanted to take this opportunity to see the protagonist group that was criticized by thousands of people in the Ancestral Star. Therefore, Wu Tong teleported the group to this small town and prepared to enter the starred out Great Forest from the periphery. What Wu Tong didn't know was that when that idea came up in his mind, the huge luck on his body had already begun to flow slowly, connecting the world and leveraging the fortune of the entire world. It is believed that soon, the world will definitely bring the result that Wu Tong is most looking forward to Wu Tong, starred out Great Forest. Netherwolf X2, Lone Bamboo X6, Cloud Dream Butterfly X3, Flame Tiger X4, in the process of moving towards the inner circle, Mebius and others followed the crowd to move towards the inner circle. At the same time, they killed the soul beasts they had never seen on the road, and then put them into the storage soul guide given by Wu Tong, adding materials for their future research. Wu Tong, give me another storage soul guide, this one is full. When the storage ring was full, Mobius counted the storage ring in his hand, nodded with satisfaction, and then turned his eyes to Wu Tong. Full again? There are almost 20 of them, right? Are you here to buy goods? Wu Tong looked at the hand that Mobius stretched out in front of him and said unhappily. Now he even doubted whether his decision to enter from the outside was a bit abrupt. It felt like this trip was specially made for Mobius and the others to find experimental materials. Hey, since we are here, how can we not bring more? Hurry up, just say whether you will give it or not. Mobius didn't care about Wu Tong's tone at all, but said to Wu Tong with confidence. Here. But then again, you have collected enough soul beasts, right? Isn't that enough for your research? This time, Wu Tong did not complain again, but directly took out several of the largest storage soul guides from the storage soul guides and handed them to Mebius. Of course it is not enough. How can a new system be studied so easily? These soul beasts are just consumables in the early stage. Mebius took the storage soul guide and said. After answering Wu Tong's question, Mebius ignored Wu Tong's meaning and continued to hunt and collect soul beasts with Wei Wei, Mei and others. Seeing this, Wu Tong did not say anything, but shrugged and continued to lead the way. As for the hunting of soul beasts? It's so funny. What does soul beast have to do with him? Wu Tong never cares about the thoughts of aliens, not to mention that soul beasts and soul masters are originally in a life and death relationship. Soul masters like Tang Hao and Tang Sen are a minority. True soul masters always regard soul beasts as mortal enemies. So, a group of people walked slowly towards the interior of the starred-out Great Forest while enjoying the unique scenery of the starred-out Great Forest, Inner Circle. The Titan Giant Ape and the Azure Bull Python, the two overlords of the starred-out Great Forest in the eyes of the outside soul masters, are now hiding in fear and are not even qualified to approach the Lake of Life. Because, at this moment, a group of fierce beasts are gathering at the Lake of Life for a meeting. Beside the Lake of Life, Tion in black robes, BG in green clothes, ZG in purple robes, the Bear King, the Red King, and the 10,000 Demon King who have not transformed into human forms, all the fierce beasts gathered together, all looking at the man in black with solemn expressions. Lucky beast, are you sure you're not mistaken? Are you saying that the strong man who released 2 attacks yesterday that were comparable to the attacks of the God King is coming towards us? At this moment, Tion, who is wearing a black robe and transformed into a middle-aged man, seemed a little bit unbelievable, and asked the golden little beast beside him with a serious face. The little beast was covered with the golden hair all over its body, and its whole body seemed to be translucent crystal, full of strange texture. The overall shape was very similar to a lion, but its 4 claws were like dragons, and each dragon claw was stepping on a ball of golden flame. Its mouth was also longer than that of a lion-like soul beast, and under its hair, there seemed to be fine golden scales. Even its face was very unique. In addition to the normal 2 eyes, there was a 3rd eye, but it was a vertical pupil. The 2 normal eyes were shining with gold, while the vertical pupils were emitting red, with a bit of a weird red. This little beast was the son of Destiny in the Soul Beast world, the real group pet of the Xingdao Great Forest, the little princess of soul beasts, and the Emperor's lucky beast, the 3-eyed golden lion. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197 The Helplessness of the Beasts, The Big Mistake, The Guilt of the Red King. Continued from the last chapter, as an ancient auspicious beast, the 3-eyed golden lion has its own soul beast habitat. The growth rate of all soul beasts is twice the normal rate. After a 100,000-year-old soul beast reaches a bottleneck, the probability of breaking through is doubled. With such an ability, it will naturally be chased, pampered and protected by all soul beasts. This is why the 3-eyed golden lion has only been cultivated for more than 2,000 years, but can be mixed in a group of fierce beasts that are at least 200,000 years old and not expelled. At this time, the 3-eyed golden lion, who was questioned by Emperor Yan, showed a nonchalant expression on his face. I can't feel it wrong. The person yesterday was surrounded by a very huge force of luck and destiny. As long as I saw it once, I would never forget it. The person coming here now has the same force of luck as the person yesterday, so I'm sure that the person coming now must be him. Emperor Yan didn't care about the 3-eyed golden lion's nonchalantness. In his opinion, the current emperor's auspicious beast is just a cub. It is normal to be petty. For cubs, there should be tolerance. After listening to the words of the 3-eyed golden lion, Emperor Tian's expression suddenly became solemn. His eyes then turned to the other fierce beasts on the side. Everyone, tell me, what should we do? That person just used 2 God King level attacks yesterday to destroy the Haoshan sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant sect, as well as their direct lineage. Today, he came to our Xingdao Great Forest. I don't know what he is doing. I believe everyone should know his strength. What if we fight him? As soon as Emperor Yan's words came out, the fierce beasts were silent. How to deal with it? There is no way to deal with it. The strength is not at the same level at all. Even if this group of fierce beasts come together, they are not his opponents. Even Emperor Yan, the strongest among the fierce beasts, can't do it. What else can they do? As the saying goes, in the face of absolute strength, all conspiracies and tricks seem ridiculous. Therefore, in front of Wu Tong's powerful strength that is enough to sweep everything, the fierce beasts suddenly felt desperate and couldn't think of any way. Emperor Yan looked at the silent beasts and felt helpless, but he knew it was not their fault. After all, Wu Tong was too strong, so some conspiracies and tricks had no effect on Wu Tong at all, which made Emperor Yan very helpless. How about we wake up the master? After a moment of silence, the king of the 3 red devil mastiffs, the Red King, saw the helpless look of the beasts and said in a muffled voice, "Insolent. Red King, do you know what you are saying?" When Emperor Tian heard what Red King said, his aura surged, and the majestic pressure seemed to pour down on him like the sky. Do you know the master's current situation? If the seriously injured master is exposed to a human with the fighting power of a god king, what consequences will it cause? Have you thought about it? And even if the master can make a move, he may not be able to beat that human. What's more, once the master makes a move, with a fighting power between the two, even if it's just a moment of fighting, it will be enough to attract the attention of the gods in the divine world. At that time, the divine world will definitely do its best to deal with the master. With the power of the divine world, how will the master who has not yet recovered deal with it? If something happens to the master, what will happen to the future of the soul beasts? Dian became more and more angry at this time, and even had murderous intent in his heart. He wanted to crush the Red King who made the suggestion to ashes. In his opinion, the Red King who made this suggestion was more hateful than Wu Tong, who was about to come and destroy him and others. Then what do you say? When the Red King made this suggestion, he could already predict Dian's reaction. Therefore, even though he could clearly feel Dian's murderous intent, the Red King was not timid. He looked at Dian with an expression that he was not afraid of death at all. Emperor Dian was speechless. In this situation, he really had no good solution. If the Lord does not take action, we will not be able to resist that man with our strength. At that time, only the Lord who was seriously injured will be left. He alone cannot fight against the God realm, let alone protect the soul beasts. Besides, even if the Lord does not take action, will our soul beasts have a future? Since that man has the combat power of the God King level, he must be a God examiner. Then he came this time, perhaps to cut off the future of our soul beasts. In this case, if we don't fight, we can only wait to die. Seeing that Emperor Yon did not speak, the Red King directly poured out his thoughts. After a moment of silence, the Red King said again, although, if you fight, you may not be able to survive. The beasts who were originally aroused by the words of the Red King and wanted to fight to the death, heard these words, and their momentum immediately weakened at a speed visible to the naked eye. That's right. Although they are not afraid of death, they don't want to die in such a meaningless way. Just when the beasts were thinking, the three-eyed golden lion beside Emperor Yan was watching this scene. Although he didn't know why these uncles and aunts who treated him like their own children were so depressed, he was a little confused when he heard the words of the Red King. Uncle Red King, I didn't feel his hostility. Why do you think he is here to deal with us? Hearing the words of the three-eyed golden lion, both Emperor Yan and other fierce beasts were excited. All the fierce beasts looked at the three-eyed golden lion who was speaking involuntarily. Auspicious beast, are you saying that person is not here to attack us? Yes, I didn't feel any hostility from him. He seems to be just here to find something. Why are you so nervous, stunned? After getting the definite reply from the three-eyed golden lion, the atmosphere at the scene gradually quieted down, and even the air stagnated. All the fierce beasts were stunned. This was really an unexpected answer. No hostility, just here to find something. The Red King repeated the words of the three-eyed golden lion in disbelief. At this time, he suddenly reacted. Wrong, wrong, all wrong. The beasts had misunderstood the man's purpose from the beginning. He was not here to cause trouble, but just happened to need to come to the inner circle of the starred-out Great Forest. From this point of view, this matter was just a misunderstanding from beginning to end. Thinking of this, the Red King couldn't help but laugh bitterly at himself. It seemed that he had almost caused a disaster. Fortunately, Dian did not agree with his suggestion, otherwise, he would have become a sinner of the Soul Beast clan. Chapter 198, The Red King's Decision, The Hidden Rules of the Soul Master World. Thinking of this, the Red King lowered his three heads and apologized to Emperor Yan. Sorry, it seems that I almost caused a disaster. Since this incident happened to me, I am not a beast that dares not take responsibility. Now I have no face to stay in the starred-out Great Forest. Next, I will take the initiative to find that strong man to apologize. I hope he will not implicate the Soul Beast clan because of this. Alice, hearing this, Emperor Yan was about to say something, but after thinking for a moment, he sighed and acquiesced to the decision of the Red King. After all, when the Red King made that suggestion, it was already unacceptable to all soul beasts. Withdrawing from the core circle of the starred-out Great Forest has become inevitable. After all, everyone here respects the Silver Dragon King, the Soul Beast Master, from the heart. Therefore, even if Emperor Yan does not drive away the Red King, this grudge will still exist, and it will explode sooner or later. Instead of letting it become a bomb, it is better to clean it up in advance. After weighing the pros and cons, Emperor Yan no longer planned to stop the Red King. As for the idea of finding Wu Tong to apologize, the fierce beasts did not refute it. After all, they dare not gamble. That's right, they didn't dare to bet on whether Wu Tong knew about the Red King's plan. After all, the martial spirits of those soul masters are all kinds of strange. What if there is a martial spirit that can let Wu Tong know about this? Even if this possibility is very small, it can even be said to be close to zero. They didn't dare to bet. After all, if something happened and Wu Tong was furious, the consequences would definitely not be something they could bear now. Therefore, even if there is only a little sign, the beasts must kill it as soon as possible. Therefore, the idea of the Red King taking the initiative to ask for forgiveness is actually their best choice. But even so, Dian and other beasts were not in a good mood. After all, no matter what, they have worked and lived together for so long, and this time, the Red King was also dedicated to the Soul Beast clan, so he did such a rebellious thing. Now that something happened, let the Red King take over, which made Dian and others feel like they were betraying their friends. Beast. It's called a beast, but beasts also have feelings? Just when the beasts felt guilty, an ethereal and melodious voice came from the bottom of the lake of life. Emperor Yan, bring the Red King to see me. Hearing this, all the fierce beasts suddenly looked stern and immediately became respectful. Even the three-eyed golden lion, who had always been fearless, put away his temper at this moment. Yes, my lord, XN, let's talk about two things. Let's move the picture to the other side. What are Wu Tong and others doing at the outskirts of the Xingdao Great Forest? They are watching a good show. Wu Tong didn't expect that Shrek Academy would forcibly snatch Meng Yiren's phoenix tail coxcomb snake, the most classic scene in Douluo fanfiction, would happen to be encountered by himself. Although in the plot, Shrek and his party said nicely that they won the phoenix tail coxcomb snake from Meng Yiren. But in essence, it was just that Zhao Wuji took advantage of the absence of Dragon Lord Meng Shu to use his power to force people and snatch it from the snake lady Zhao Xiangxiang. No matter how to whitewash it, this is an inevitable fact. However, this is also an unwritten rule in the Soul Master world, that is, the strong are respected. As long as Zhao Wuji has the confidence to resist the revenge of Longguang, he can actually kill the two snake grandmothers and grandsons directly, and it is not a problem to rob the phoenix tail coxcomb snake. Although Wu Tong doesn't like this unspoken rule, he doesn't comment on it. However, these are not what Wu Tong is interested in. After all, he has always adhered to the concept of minding his own business. For this kind of unspoken rule, Wu Tong has always adhered to the attitude of ignoring it as long as it doesn't fall on his head. What Wu Tong is most interested in now is the plot on the original book, which is still happening now. Is it a coincidence or fate? Wu Tong muttered to himself, then shook his head, threw away the distracting thoughts, and began to observe the students of Shrek Academy. Because of this little butterfly, the plot of Douluo Continent has now completely changed beyond recognition. But when Wu Tong looked at Shrek's group just now, he found that it was still a lineup of 1 teacher and 7 students. This surprised Wu Tong a little. Could it be that the protagonists will gather together again? Thinking of this, Wu Tong began to observe carefully, wanting to see if the protagonists could still gather together under the disruption of this outsider himself. When Wu Tong looked carefully, the true appearance of Shrek and his party was instantly clearly displayed in front of Wu Tong. The first one was the most obvious and easily recognizable guy, with a red mohawk, short hair, wretched and short, looking like a fat guy like a large turkey. At the first sight of this guy, Wu Tong successfully recognized this one of the Shrek 7 devils in the original work, the evil fire phoenix Ma Hongjin. However, compared to the phoenix god who was decadent and regretful all day in the future in the god realm, he is now just a fat guy who has no responsibility and can't do anything with his evil fire. Moreover, without the help of the fairy grass, it will be difficult for this fat guy to successfully break through the soul saint in the future, let alone become a god. Poor character, insufficient qualifications, serious hidden dangers of martial souls. All kinds of negative buffs added together, there is no need to worry at all. Wu Tong looked at the fat boy who was looking at Meng Yiren with lustful eyes, and immediately labeled him as someone who is not worth worrying about. Afterwards, Wu Tong stopped paying attention to Ma Hongjin and moved his eyes to the golden-haired man in white clothes beside him. Golden hair, heterochromatic pupils, such obvious characteristics of the Xingluo royal family, and it was in Shrek Academy, so the result was naturally obvious. This person was the third prince of the Xingluo Empire, the evil-eyed white tiger Daimyo Bei, who was afraid of his brother's power and worried that he would die because of the family's ancestral teachings. But his character was not very good. Before Zhu Xiuqing came to Shrek Academy, He was a playboy and lustful. Although he changed after Zhu Zhuking came. But that was just a cover. In fact, he has always been a useless person. Regarding this point, it can be seen from the fact that he would help the tyrants and help Tang San control his blood descendants 10,000 years later. He has a bad character. A hypocrite who is good at disguise, has no ability, and is very cowardly, so he is not worth worrying about. After taking a look at Im Yubei, Wu Tong looked away with disdain. As soon as he turned his head, a pair of headlights came into view. Those legs, those headlights, and those waists, hiss. Chapter 199 A Time Traveler? A Stowaway. Continued from the last chapter, at this age, the only girl who can have such a figure, and is also a student of Shrek Academy, is Zhu Zhuking, the little cat who traveled thousands of miles from the Xingluo Empire to find her husband. As the third daughter of the Zhu family of the Xingluo Empire, Zhu Zhuking has a good family background, a good personality, a good figure, and is diligent in cultivation. She can be said to be a standard template of a noble lady in the eyes of others. If she had not been born in a wrong environment, perhaps she could have had a good childhood. But even so, Zhu Zhuking is not without flaws. She has only one flaw, that is, her thoughts are relatively futile, and she has never thought of resisting the arrangements of her elders. Even after knowing Dime Yubei's nature of drinking, and debauchery, she still did not resist her marriage. Of course, perhaps she also knew that she could not resist at all, so she hung her heart on Dime Yubei. Don't even mention joining other forces to avoid being hunted down. The innate soul power of level 7 is not enough to make the big forces offend the Xingluo Empire in order to protect her. Over time, after Zhu Zhuking realized this, she accepted her fate. Alice, what a pity. A guy like Dime Yubei is not worth your efforts. Looking at Zhu Zhuking's cold figure, Wu Tong shook his head and sighed. Then he looked away, and then the remaining figures came into view one by one. Zhao Wuji, Oscar, Xiao Wu, I don't know. Looking at Xiao Wu and the two unfamiliar figures, Wu Tong was a little stunned. If Ningrongrong was not here, Wu Tong could understand it. After all, after Ning Fengzi, the old fox, learned that he had become a divine examiner. Whether it was to please himself and maintain friendly relations, or for the treasures in his hands, he would definitely let Ningrongrong come to build a relationship with him. In this way, bringing Ningrongrong back to the Seven Treasures glazed sect became an inevitable choice. Therefore, it was not unexpected for Wu Tong that Ningrongrong was not at Shrek Academy. Wu Tong could understand that Tang San was not here. Although Tang Hao was now alone, it was still easy for him to obtain information with his title Douluo strength. Now that he was not here, he must have known that he had destroyed the Haoshan sect and fled with Tang San. However, when Tang San was not here, Xiao Wu was still at Shrek Academy, which Wu Tong could not understand. Did Tang Hao forget Xiao Wu when he took Tang San away? Or did the two of them deliberately not take Xiao Wu with them? But Tang Hao's words were possible, but Tang San should not be possible? What was going on? Forget it, I'll go over and ask him later to see what was going on. But if it was really the same as my guess, it would be interesting. Looking at Xiao Wu's figure, Wu Tong was complaining in his heart. Tang San, if it is really as I guessed, then your only advantage, that is, your love for your wife, is in jeopardy. With this, can you still confidently call yourself the pure and innocent Tang San Shao? Of course, even if you have this advantage, it is not much different from not having it. After shaking his head and getting rid of the distracting thoughts in his mind, Wu Tong looked at the two figures of a man and a woman that he did not recognize, and he also looked at them with interest. The students who can be accepted by Shrek Academy are only genius spirit masters who can enter the 25th level before the age of 12. What is the situation of these two people? The young geniuses who did not appear in the original work? The spy did say that Shrek Academy accepted 6 people this time, plus the previous 3, a total of 9 students. After 2 were taken away, Shrek Academy only had 7 left. But Wu Tong did not take this matter seriously, and thought it was a butterfly effect caused by him. Of course, now that I have seen it, I have to understand it well. After all, the weight of 2 genius spirit masters can also make Wu Tong a little interested. But after carefully looking at them for a while, Wu Tong found that he really had no impression of these 2 people. So Wu Tong was not going to waste brain cells anymore. Prepare to use the cheat intelligent brain, connect to the soul network, and investigate the origins of these 2 people for me. As soon as Wu Tong gave the command to the intelligent brain, the voice of the intelligent brain immediately came to Wu Tong's mind. Okay, Master, the command has been received, and the connection to the soul network has been successfully connected. The character image comparison query is being checked and the target information has not been detected. Huh? Master, there is no information about these two people in the soul network? Failed to use the cheat. Your external cheat is in arrears. Wu Tong seemed to have such a sentence in his mind. No? This is impossible? Since the soul network was launched, it has spread for such a long time, and it should have spread throughout the Douluo world? After such a long time, at least all the information that should be collected, right? How could there be no information? Hearing the words of the intelligent brain, Wu Tong began to think with some doubts. Is there no information about these two people even in the soul network that is now spread all over the world? It seems that this time, he should have encountered something interesting. Thinking of this, Wu Tong smiled slightly. Unknown? Interesting. Who are these two people? However, before Wu Tong could think deeply, the voice of the intelligent brain came again. Master, they seem to be like Alicia and others, without the mark of the Douluo world, and the soul network cannot detect them. No mark of the world? Transmigrators. Suddenly, this term immediately emerged in Wu Tong's mind. Because he himself is a transmigrator, Wu Tong naturally knows that the so-called transmigrators do not exist. On the contrary, there are still many creatures that can travel through the world in the heavens and the worlds. Thinking of this, Wu Tong immediately sank his consciousness into the chat group and prepared to ask the professional group assistant, in the dimensional chat group. Private chat interface. Seeker, @group assistant, come out to answer questions. One of the administrator's permissions, answering questions. You can directly ask the group assistant something, and you can get answers within the authority. Group assistant, come on, is there anything you need to ask? Dear administrator. Seeker, it seems that two time travelers appeared in my world, one male and one female. What's going on? Is there no mission? Or are these two guys legal time travelers with certificates? Group assistant, please wait, let me check. 1 minute later. Group assistant, the test results are out. These two guys are stowaways. Seeker, stowaways? What is that? Chapter 200, Little Thief Cat and Upper String 2, 2 world coordinates obtained. Group assistant, the so-called stowaways actually refer to the lives that accidentally arrive in this world from other worlds. Although they are called stowaways, they can also be called time travelers in essence. Group assistant, as for time travelers, everyone knows that there are good and bad ones, but no matter whether they are good or bad, they will bring great changes to the world, and these changes can contribute enough power to the improvement of the world. Group assistant, therefore, when the stowaways do not cause harm to the world, we don't need to pay attention to these guys. Group assistant, after all, the fundamental purpose of the chat group to promote the upgrading of the world, maintain world peace, and enhance the world's strength does not conflict with the stowaways. On the contrary, they have a great driving force. Group assistant, therefore, the chat group has always maintained an attitude of dispensability towards stowaways. This is not like some time travelers who specialize in destruction, plunder, and killing. Those guys are the enemies of the chat group. Group assistant, however, this kind of outsider will not be protected by the world, that is to say, the death of this group of people is in vain. Group assistant, as for these two people, I'll leave it to you, admin. You can do whatever you want. I've asked the creators. It's up to you whether to kill them or keep them. It seems that I can get the coordinates of the two worlds this time. I don't have to search for them in the void. It's really great. After learning about the concept of stowaways, Wu Tong looked at the message sent by the group assistant and secretly rejoiced. Let him arrange it himself? That's really great. These two people are stowaways and will not be tolerated by the world. In this way, it means that they should still have the world coordinates of the original world. Now with these two human coordinates, Wu Tong can get the coordinates of their original world from these two people. In addition, Wu Tong also has the ability to search and travel through the world, and has upgraded many times, enough to cross the world dimensional portal. The combination of world coordinates and dimensional portals, isn't it equivalent to Wu Tong directly getting two worlds? And they are two worlds that are delivered to the door. So happy, why? Seeker, I see. Okay, then do you have their information? Send me a copy. Group assistant, okay, respected administrator. Group assistant uploaded a copy of the information. Administrator Seeker has received the information. Seeker: oh, thank you, assistant. Group assistant: you're welcome. It's my honor to serve you. After receiving the information, Wu Tong exited the chat group and carefully checked the information sent to him by the group assistant. The names and origins of the two stowaways were displayed on the information. Stowaway: Nami, from the advanced small world One Piece world, the Kokoja village in the East China Sea, nicknamed Little Thief Cat, the lucky girl of the pirate world. One of the protagonists has a strong sense of weather, great luck, and unlimited potential. Stowaway: Kyaza, from the low-level world of Demon Slayer, one of the 12 demon moons under Muzan Kibutsuji, the second of the upper moons, a unique race in this world, a creature of the evil demon clan, now over 200 years old, with strong recovery ability. Oh, you still think of this? A sudden impulse actually brought such a big surprise. Looking at the information in his hand, Wu Tong was very surprised. Because the real world and the original anime style are too different, and Nami did not wear the original clothes, but changed into the clothes of the Douluo world. This time, except for the orange hair and the evil dragon tattoo on the arm, the image can be said to have been greatly improved, and even the figure was covered by the loose clothes. There is no similarity with the anime, so when Wu Tong saw it for the first time, he really didn't recognize Nami's identity. Now that I know this situation, if I look carefully, if I cover this woman with Nami's clothes, it is indeed exactly the same. This also makes Wu Tong very excited. This is Nami, one of Wu Tong's former paper wives. Not only her, but also the pirate world that is rich and beautiful, devil fruits, is a huge treasure trove. And looking at the dragon tattoo on Nami's arm, it should be a time period that has not yet experienced a plot. In this way, Wu Tong only needs to follow the plot to get most of the treasures in the pirate world. In addition to the specialty beautiful devil fruits, there are also new training systems, physical skills, kendo, domineering, some strange races, special materials, and nutritious and unique creatures such as sea kings. In addition, there are also those rich talent resources, Vegapunk, the Four Emperors, the Navy, the Revolutionary Army, Sky Island, Mermaid Island. From this point of view, isn't the world of One Piece a big piece of fat meat? After all, according to the plot and combat power, there is not a single one who can explode the star. Wu Tong said that when he comes back from Luotiandajiano, it is not a problem to push it alone. After reading Nami's information, Wu Tong was overjoyed and felt pleasantly surprised. But when he saw another piece of information, this surprise turned into another feeling. Wu Tong even felt like he had eaten chocolate-flavored shit, or he felt as disgusted as if he had eaten shit-flavored chocolate. I caught a little bug. It seems that the world consciousness of the Douluo realm is a bit low now. But fortunately, I will be the master of the world in the future. The fetal membrane barrier of the world will definitely be well maintained for you, Kyaza, the evil ghost in the world of Demon Slayer. But this kind of evil ghost is not those illusory souls, but a cannibalistic ghost that feeds on humans. Since the birth of evil ghosts, countless families have been broken and separated in the world for thousands of years, and countless lives have been slaughtered and devoured. It can be said that the evil ghost clan is a race with huge karma. Kyaza is the blood relative created by the demon king Muzan Kibutsuji. He is the second of the upper strings of the 12 demon moons. In that world, he has the top combat power of that world and has killed and eaten countless people in his life. Although Wu Tong hated this guy, it was not Kyaza that made Wu Tong feel uncomfortable, but the cowardly, despicable and incompetent ghost king, Muzan Kibutsuji. Thinking of the performance of that guy in the plot, Wu Tong felt like vomiting. He killed innocent people indiscriminately, was cowardly and afraid of death, was cruel and ruthless, and killed his subordinates at will. He was a complete scumbag. No wonder he was called a scumbag by countless people. Forget it. Let's go and deal with it when the time comes. Besides, considering the karma of these evil ghosts, it would be a good deed if we deal with them. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.